What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It is Tuesday, November 22nd, 2016, and the Tantrum Squad is back at it. Massive denial of service attack on my whatreallyhappened.com server just as we were about to go to airtime, and I can't deal with it. You would think that these buttercups and these snowflakes would get tired of doing this, but I guess the tantrum has to run its course, and somebody needs to throw an ice bucket challenge into their face. Anyway, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today besides the Tantrum Squad here. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And I think that's Mike back in our control room today. I really forgot to make sure when I checked on in. I think he's getting better. We'll find out there for later on in the show here. And we've got a lot of stuff to talk about here. A quick reminder, we are live today and tomorrow. Thursday and Friday is going to be replay shows. We'll be back live next Monday. Now then, I'm sure a lot of you are sharing our disappointment in this announcement from Trump's aide Kellyanne Conway that there is no plan to pursue charges against Hillary Clinton, blah, 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 blah. Healing, hasn't she suffered enough? And everybody's kind of upset. They viewed prosecution of Hillary Clinton as a Trump campaign promise, and it did generate a huge amount of support for him. And I've been getting floods and floods of angry emails today from people just upset and very, very angry, and I understand that. I'm very disappointed. I want to live in a just nation where those who commit great crimes will suffer greatly for them. I don't like having a criminal class that's above the law, and Trump has already damaged his credibility as chief enforcer of the U.S. laws. He's also handed Congress the means to impeach him, because it's called obstruction of justice. If President Trump tells the Attorney General and the FBI to stand down, that is obstruction of justice. Now, politics is a practical profession, and I'll tell you what I think may be going on. The fact that Conway was the one who delivered this message signals that it is a political message rather than a legal one. Now, Donald Trump knows that all this rioting in Portland and elsewhere, along with all the death threats against the electors, is organized by a group of people deathly afraid of going to jail, and even willing to assassinate him to avoid their day in court. So what I suspect may have happened is a deal has been made for Hillary to fade quietly into private life in exchange for calling off the riots and threats to the electors, which I will expect to see in the next few days. Now, I don't like this decision, but I understand why Donald Trump may have seen this as the best way to quiet down those trying to delegitimize him before he even takes the oath of office. And if I am correct, and Hillary Clinton was selling U.S. secrets to foreign interests with that private email server and using her so-called charitable foundation to collect and launder the payments, then Trump doesn't need a scandal on such a scale to become public and threaten the entire government he is about to take charge of. After all, he didn't make this mess, and he probably prefers not to have to deal with it. And like I said, I don't like this decision, but I understand why Trump may have seen this as the optimal course. Now, not everybody agrees with me. A lot of people are saying that Trump is saying this in order to forestall Obama issuing a pardon for Hillary Clinton, and that once he's president, things could very well change. Well, he could have done that privately without making it public, because he has damaged himself a lot. And I don't think he did it without a really, really good reason. So we're going to have to be let time solve that mystery, but I think that's what happened. If we do see the protests start to fade away, if we do see the threats to the electors start to fade away, then yes, a deal was made. Hillary stops trying to attack Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will call off the legal dogs. Like I said, Trump may have handed a hostile Congress the means by which they could impeach him. It's called obstruction of justice. Now then, moving on. I hate to say I told you so. Actually, no, I rather enjoy it. Okay, today we are seeing all over the corporate media the complete discrediting of that whole Pizzagate myth of pedophiles and all the rest of it. Remember, I told you right from the beginning, there's nothing there but supposition and assumption and a bunch of graphics, and it just didn't feel right. It felt like a setup, and now it is. And so we're seeing all over the corporate media, the New York Times, oh, it's just a pizza parlor. There's no child trafficking. Look at those wackos in the independent media and all the fake news they put on out. And I told you this was a classic poison the well setup. And the corporate media and the government planted this on the internet like they planted the no plane at the Pentagon nonsense. So now the corporate media has a handle to say, oh, you don't want to listen to the independent media. They're full of fake news. They had that Pizzagate thing here, and they're the same people who said Hillary was cheating on the primaries and was trying to cheat the elections and threaten the... So you shouldn't listen to anything the independent media says because they all had that Pizzagate thing. Well, obviously I didn't. The positive news out of all of this, of course, is that I was able to identify the obvious agent provocateurs, because those were the ones who 20, 30 emails, why aren't you publishing? You must publish it. You must put this on your website. And now they are now all in my email ban list. So there was a little bit of positive out of there. We're going to do a shout out to our on-air affiliates who are just now rejoining the network. We're talking about the Pizzagate has proven to have been a false poison the well propaganda operation. We talked briefly about Donald Trump announcing there's no plan to go after Hillary Clinton criminally. But, of course, Donald Trump can't order the Congress to stop their investigations, which are not criminal investigations anyway. They're fact-finding investigations. So we'll get a little bit more of the truth out there. And then a lot of people are very, very angry, and I understand that. I'm angry, too. I would like to see Hillary Clinton in jail. But I understand that there may have been this deal made for Hillary Clinton to stop staging these riots in Portland and Los Angeles, stop sending death threats to the electors, and in exchange, Trump is going to say, you're not going to go to jail. Take your ill-gotten gains and retire quietly and go and sin no more. Now, the corporate media is still out there trying to claim or trying to promise their readers they'll do better in the future, at the same time continuing to try and smear the independent media with Pizzagate. The Los Angeles Times issued their letter to their readers. Yes, now that we're through the election, we promise we will be more fair, we'll be more honest, we'll be more balanced. We're the trustworthy source that you should come to. Again, at the same time, they're still out there playing the same games they always have. The reason is simple economics. They're paid the big bucks to control your mind. Nobody's going to pay them that kind of money to keep you informed. It just doesn't work on out. If they're going to go on making the money they've been making, they have to go on selling the product they have been selling all along, which is your mind. That's what they're really all about, selling your mind. Now, getting on to the fake news and who is really the fake and who is not. Remember all those TV news networks and newspapers and everything that said, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor? That was fake news. Or all those corporate media outlets who blamed the DNC email hack on the Russians without a shred of proof, knowing they were spewing fake news? That's the fake news. See, the New York Times has actually openly admitted it is willing to make up false news stories to make sure conservative candidates are defeated in elections. So if the Times fabricates a story, then publishes it, then everybody else, the obedient left-wing media, repeats it, citing the New York Times as their trusted source. Now, ultimately, of course, when it comes to fake news, the U.S. government is the biggest culprit. And we have talked before about Operation Mockingbird, which is the mechanism by which the CIA controls the corporate media. And at this point, Americans are waking up and realize it isn't something that's rare or unusual or occasional when they're lied to by politicians and the media. It's nonstop. It really is like living in a real-life version of the Matrix. You look at these screens, or you read those newspapers, or you listen to the radio, or your device, and you think that's the real world, and it absolutely is not. Now, remember when CIA Director Colby was testifying before Congress during 1975 during the church committee hearings into illegal actions by the CIA. And he openly admitted the CIA directs corporate media how to lie to the American public. How many times do you have to be reminded that you are being lied to by the government, by the corporate media? They even admit it. So, now today is the anniversary of the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. And I don't need to go into it. Everybody already knows the issues there. The vast majority of Americans now know there was a cover-up. The Warren Report was a joke. And Lee Harvey Oswald did not act alone. But as long as we're on the subject of fake news, we cannot allow the anniversary of John F. Kennedy's assassination to pass without remembering Dan Rather. Now, back in 1963, Dan Rather was an unknown newscaster from a small market Texas TV station. When the Zapruder film first surfaced, he viewed it. Nobody showed it. The Zapruder film was not shown publicly until Jim Garrison's trial against Clay Shaw. Oh, it's too shocking, it's too bloody, the American people don't need to see it. But we have this newscaster who has looked at it, and he'll tell you what it shows. And what Dan Rather told all of America was the shot to Kennedy's head rocketed his head forward. And we have that video on the front of whatreallyhappened.com. Rocketed forward, rocketed forward. Because it was supposed to be coming from the book depository. And Dan Rather was immediately promoted to network stardom following that slight little fib that he did. Now, when Jim Garrison took Clay Shaw to trial, he dragged the Zapruder film into the public, and almost immediately everybody could see Dan Rather lied. Kennedy's head is thrown violently backwards because he's being shot from the front. And then the government hired all these scientists to try and concoct reasons why, oh, if you're shot from the back, your head is going to fling back. It's jet effect, it's rocket, it's the camera angles. They even got Walter Cronkite involved in all of this fakery. But it doesn't change the fact that Dan Rather misrepresented what was on that film to the American people. So you've always lived in a world of fake news. It isn't anything recent. It's been ongoing for as long as you have been alive. And you need to remember that. While the corporate media screams that they're fake, we're real, you should trust us. You should never trust anybody. Remember when Arlen Specter was finally confronted on the magic bullet theory in Senate hearings? I remember when Texas Governor John Connally finally passed away, and then Attorney General Janet Reno said, we might want to dig out those bullet fragments from inside his leg, because it seems that there's more fragments there than we're missing from the magic bullet. Ooh, sorry, stop kicking me, stop kicking me. And boy, that one went away real fast. Because the x-rays of the bullet fragments that were still in Governor John Connally's leg were clearly much more massive than the tiny amount of mass missing from the so-called magic bullet. Now, each new government that comes on in, unfortunately, inherits the continuation of lies and cover-ups from past administrations. And unfortunately, Trump is no different. At some point, if this nation is to be saved, and I'm still not convinced it can be done even with President Trump, there has to be a Truth and Reconciliation Commission that will have the courage to stand up there and say, yeah, okay, previous governments have lied to you about this and this and this and this and this, and while we personally were not involved back then, we acknowledge the lies took place, and we apologize collectively for them. And we promise we'll do better. Absent that, I think we're on a very clear path where the government and corporate media's credibility is in decline, and they can't reverse it, even with hoaxes like Pizzagate and attempting to smear the independent media. Because I wasn't the only one out there saying this Pizzagate is a setup. People are recognizing these things when they see them. Now then, another instance of fake news, as it were. When Donald Trump called Hillary Clinton a bigot, the corporate media just went ballistic, saying, he's gone too far, he's gone too far. But then the Clinton campaign releases a video saying Mr. Trump is the candidate of the KKK, and, oh, that's okay, that's freedom of speech. And one of the reasons that the corporate media is in such trouble was this obvious display of bias. And in a lot of these faux repentant letters to their readers, viewers that we're seeing come out of the corporate media, they're acknowledging, well, yeah, we did have a little bias. You know, we're human beings too, but we promise we won't do it anymore. The thing is, every time the corporate media does get caught in another lie, they say the same thing. Oh, yeah, we'll do better. And they never do. And they can't. Because they make the money they make to lie to you. They can't change their business model. Nobody's going to pay them the money they're being paid to start telling the truth. It's just never going to happen. And so that's why they're on the warpath against the independent media. Because if they can't lie to you with impunity, ooh boy, those big paychecks are going to go away. Now, Donald Trump is clearly empathetic to our situation out here, because Trump is now starting to meet the heads of various media. He had a meeting with a whole bunch of people at Trump Tower yesterday and with the New York Times today, and everybody walked into the Trump Tower figuring that they were going to get the ground rules of their access to the Trump White House, and instead they got a Trump-style dressing down where he stood there and pointed at all these people, starting with Jeff Zucker, and saying, you're all a bunch of liars. People who were in the room said it was like facing a firing squad. Trump was out there saying everyone at CNN is a liar and you should be ashamed. And from the point of view of the corporate media, it was a total disaster. They're not getting the access to the White House they thought they were going to be getting. And the media has now responded by going after Donald Trump harder than they did before. Because the corporate media all of a sudden seems to think they're really in charge of the country. They were supposed to pick our next president, and they didn't get the one they want, so they're just going to go after Donald Trump more. And again, they're just showing themselves to the world to be a bunch of spoiled brats who are just so used to getting their own way, and they react badly when they don't, like the people who have crashed my website now. Now, the anti-Trump protests are still going on, and they're not really making a very positive impression. Apparently, some of the anti-Trump protesters up in Portland decided they were going to go out and sign wave on the I-5, and to nobody's surprise, one of them got hit by a car. Guys, you're not supposed to be up there on the interstates for any reason. I mean, that was just ridiculous here. Now, this is a fun story. And apparently, the Democrats, the liberals, are so traumatized by President Trump, they're retreating into an alternative reality. There is a virtual reality app called Liberal America Simulator 2016, which offers the users an alternate universe where Bernie Sanders won the presidency and has implemented progressive policies that converted America to the socialist, multicultural utopia they all dream of. This is getting a little creepy and weird. These people are just not dealing with reality. I think somebody needs to hack this app so that while they're wearing those silly little goggles, they start wandering around the I-5. That might solve a lot of problems right there. But taking this political correctness, we must have a safe zone stuff to the most absurd possible heights. There's a college in Massachusetts has now banned the American flag to stop, quote, hate-based violence, end quote. This is the U.S. flag we're talking about. The Stars and Stripes is now banned on this Massachusetts college campus. We'll be right back.
You, your husband, your wife, your children, we all need food. And with dozens of food storage companies buying up airtime all over radio, it's hard for you to know which company you can actually trust. Hey folks, John Stadtmiller here. We at RBN understand, which is why I personally searched out a storable food company and one with similar core values to us here at RBN and of course you, the listener. Well, I found such a company. I'd like to introduce you to Numana Food Storage. Numana Food Storage, highly nutritious, GMO-free, contains no aspartame, no high fructose corn syrup, has no chemical preservatives or soy, and Numana Food Storage has a 25-year shelf life. To back up my claims, we've made Numana Food Storage the exclusive food sponsor of RBN. Call 888-597-0775, 888-597-0775. Order online at NumanaRepublic.com. That's Numana Republic.com. Food storage you'll love to eat.
Hi, folks. In a world of GMO, genetically modified organisms, that is, chemicals, processed foods, and a healthcare system that's unraveling like a cheap suit, it's time to prepare. God created herbs, and herbs help man. Our body can heal itself, just sometimes we need assistance. You need some help? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Our mild detox is quite powerful with its unique blend of 8 different herbs. And if you're looking for more, our non-GMO supplements will help you with different needs you might have. Health should be a top priority. Take care of your health naturally. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Give your body a treat. Let the herbs do their thing naturally. Read all the testimonies on the website, GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Sickness and viruses are like intruders, and herbs are like warriors. Let the tea work for you. That's GetTheTea.com.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here, and we're going to turn over to the war zones, emphasis on the plural now. As you know, the battle's continuing in Aleppo. There have been allegations that the U.S.-backed terrorists have been using chemical weapons on everybody around them, Syrian troops, civilians, and so forth. Russian chemical weapons experts are saying they are finding evidence of these chemical weapons. So they put in a request for the Organization of the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons to send their experts in to confirm. Now, back when Obama and John Kerry were trying to frame Assad for the use of the weapons, they were always hot for the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, the OPCW, to go on in with their experts. Yeah, go on in, stand right here, and you will conveniently see a chemical weapon used right in front of you. Today, though, is very, very different. The OPCW is refusing to send their own experts in to verify the Russian findings, and apparently this is under pressure from Western nations, primarily the United States. Now, in another context, on the so-called fake news front, over at liveleak.com, they have a wonderful video they put together. We just linked to it to the front page of whatreallyhappened.com, where they went back and started collecting all these headlines that appeared in the corporate media, newspapers, or on TV broadcasts, how Russia had just bombed the last hospital in Aleppo. And this was a story that was constantly being replayed and replayed and replayed until finally the number of hospitals, the number of last hospitals that the U.S. media claimed Russia had destroyed totaled somewhere over 20. So it's not really surprising that when Russia Today was in that State Department meeting, they said, can you give us the names of these hospitals that Russia supposedly destroyed and provide any proof that Russia had anything to do with it? And, of course, that tripped off the State Department spokesman to start screaming about how Russia Today wasn't real media. You've got to sit at the back of the room. And then, of course, one of the reporters for one of the other media outlets, to their credit, said, it's a reasonable question. And that provoked this full-on hysterical meltdown. So, now, yesterday we were reporting on how Turkey has had second thoughts about joining the European Union. Wise move, Erdogan. And would consider pivoting over to Russia and China to join their security bloc. And China has now announced Turkey would be welcome. Looks like it's a done deal. I mean, it's certainly well on the way. I'm sure there's going to be fine details to work on out. But Turkey is pivoting away from the U.S. Of course, what we can expect the corporate media to do, based on the prior precedent of Crimea, is they'll start screaming that China stole Turkey. No, Turkey didn't want to become part of China. China came in and stole them the way Putin stole Crimea. So what can I tell you? Over in France, as we mentioned yesterday, Sarkozy is already out of the presidential running, and it looks like Marine Le Pen is on her way. Now, Amnesty International has wagged their institutional finger at Great Britain and basically accusing Britain for acting like almost like cheerleaders for Bahrain's inadequate human rights reforms, saying that they're all out there acting like they're in support of human rights, but nothing, as usual, is getting done. Now, over in northern Iraq, a little bit of a fly in the ointment, at least from the U.S. side. The Prime Minister of Iraq is now insisting the Kurds have to return all the territory they seized. Now, this is not going to sit very well because the U.S. agenda was to grab parts of Iraq, Syria, and Turkey and create a new nation of Kurdistan in order to continue the process of balkanizing the Middle East from large countries hard to push around down to little tiny countries that were easy for the U.S. and for Israel to bully. And Iraq is now saying, absolutely not. We don't want to go along with that. Turkey didn't like that idea either. Neither did Syria. Now, we've been talking about U.S. weapons. Very expensive, don't work very well. Yes, we have another story about that. We'll be right back after these few words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party party and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Extendivite, a 7-herb combination of garlic, cayenne, hawthorn, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Extendivite is designed to strengthen the heart and arteries and help the body heal itself. Doctors are not able to explain the improvements they are seeing in their patients' health who are taking Extendivite. People who once needed more pills are now taking less and getting better. Due to the unexplainable improvements in their patients' health, more doctors are calling to order Extendivite for themselves. Help Extendivite make your doctor a believer. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Do you have difficulty taking supplements? Are you searching for a high-quality, complete nutritional drink that your whole family will love? NutriMedical's Life Support has arrived. All of your daily nutritional requirements in one quick, delicious drink. Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support is a proprietary blend of vegan protein, activated vitamins, essential minerals, amino acids, probiotics, green tea, digestive enzymes, anti-inflammatories, cancer prevention, detoxification, and much more. Your body will high-five you for this one. Life Support is the best complete nutritious meal replacement on the market. Whether you are an elite athlete, have post-operative challenges, chronic illness, elderly, or a family that just wants a quick, delicious drink, try Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support for optimized nutrition in one great-tasting smoothie. Just add cold water, almond milk, fruit, or anything else you like. NutriMedical's Life Support. Try our great-tasting chocolate or vanilla today. Call 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com. NutriMedical.com for the whole family.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds, up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield tactical bipods. AROutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AROutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AROutfitting.com.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Join Mike on the air. Call toll-free 800-313-9443. 800-313-9443.
And it's unusual for us not to have callers this early in the show, so hopefully the phone lines are working. Actually, they are working here. Now then, we're talking about the weapons. We have criticized, justifiably, the F-22. Very expensive, asphyxiates its pilots. We have criticized the new aircraft carrier, the Gerald R. Ford. It's full of all kinds of whiz-bang, high-tech, speculative technology. And even the Pentagon is saying we shouldn't have tried to do it all at the same time. And the Gerald R. Ford may never actually be usable in real combat. Then we have the Independence-class littoral combat ship, suffering major corrosion problems. The lead ship has already had to be dry docked and have major parts of its hull replaced. The Freedom-class littoral combat ships, constant problems with their power chain, between the engines and the transmission and everything, just grinding up. And, of course, the F-35, which yesterday we were reporting, Pentagon's own testing people are saying this thing will never be ready to go into real combat, but it'll look really swell at the air shows, and that makes that $1 trillion worth it. Well, now there's a new problem with the USS Zumwalt, the $4 billion stealth destroyer. With the weird upside-down hulls, the stealth ship can be easily recognized from space, was going through the Panama Canal, headed for its new home port of San Diego, and all of a sudden, water started leaking in through the shaft seals into the electric motors that power those propellers. Now, I'm sure you're aware that seawater and electric motors is not a good combination, and to nobody's surprise, the engines stopped. And the power system, the integrated power systems, they've got like one big power system powering everything, that failed. So everything went down. Sensors, weapons, crew services, lights, radar, everything. Just blanked it down. And the Zumwalt started drifting and actually hit the side of the canal, scraping the paint. And it had to be towed over to a naval facility that used to be a U.S. Navy base. Now it's owned by Panama, but Panama said, sure, go on in and tie it up. And they're going to have to do repairs right there before they can limp it back up to San Diego. Now, something about ship design. As you know, I live here on Oahu, and down at the bottom of the hill is Pearl Harbor. And I do go out there and I take the tours of the submarine, the Arizona Memorial, and of course the Missouri. And not too long ago, as part of a charity thing, I was able to get on one of the private tours that take you deeper into the ship than normal tourists are going to go. And the design of the ship made a great deal of sense for something that was going out to war. There was the outer part of the ship, where everybody lived and worked, and then there was a center core of the ship that was heavily armed. And during combat, everybody goes into that center core so that anything hitting the outside, it's basically throwaway damage. One of the things that was immediately obvious is everything to do with electricity and power was done in duplication, triplication, 5 and 6, multiple ways to run wires. From the control room that actually fires the main artillery, there are no less than 20 different circuits traveling through different routes of the ship to get to those guns. And that's how you survive in a combat situation. And for the Zumwalt to be put totally out of service by a single failure, that's not very good design. It's not very good design at all. I remember, I think it was about 2 years ago, the Navy was playing with one of their drones, and they lost control of it, and it actually punched through the radar housing, that little projection that holds the spy radar on an Arleigh Burke. Just punched right on through the aluminum and destroyed $30 million worth of computers. I don't know what they're thinking over there at the Pentagon, and that may be one of the reasons why Trump has picked a retired general to be the new Secretary of Defense, which breaks a long tradition. We've had civilians in charge of the Defense Department. These are people who can be basically snookered by the Joint Chiefs. Throw money at things without knowing what they're throwing them at. So this may be a new a return of practicality and actually usability to our military design. Now, according to Stephen Lendman, who's a journalist and political commentator, his sources are telling him that Barack Obama really wanted to have a victory in Syria to go out of his term in the White House on as part of his legacy. War president, we are victorious against Assad. Not going to happen, obviously, unless he just hauls off and declares a nuclear attack on Damascus. And who knows, he might. We've got a long way to go till January 20th. We have a long way to go just to December 19th. And some of these people are certifiable, and we don't know what they could do. We know the war hawks would love to get a hot war going with Russia before Trump can take office. And that would be a really good way to do it. Now, turning to the economic news. Down in Venezuela, they have now imposed a cap on bank withdrawals of just $5 per day. to keep the banking system from collapse. Now, remember, it has come on out. Venezuela has been the victim of economic war by the United States. The United States has wanted control of Venezuela and its oil going all the way back to Hugo Chavez. They tried to oust Chavez. He was actually out of power for about a week and then put back in. After he passed away, Venezuela got a new leader with Hugo Chavez-like ideas. Wants to sell Venezuela's oil for the yuan and for the ruble and not the U.S. dollar. And the U.S. has been trying to destroy them for a very long time. Look how many people are being made miserable and suffering by U.S. foreign policy. And then they wonder why the American people stood up and said, we've had enough of that. Okay, we got a caller on the line here, Kenny in Florida. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Mike. How are you doing today?
Doing good.
You were talking a couple of days ago. You were talking about James Piper leaving, and you said, "Don't let the door hit you on the way out." You should have said, "Don't let the door hit you where the dog should have bit you."
I have not heard that one before, but sounds really good.
Yeah, I heard that on a cartoon. But anyway, the real reason I'm calling is, Dave Hodges of the Common Sense Show was ahead of you about Hillary not being prosecuted, and I just sent the email of his YouTube video to you.
Okay.
So I sent an email with his YouTube video to you. But basically, and I think probably the reason that they were so slow to call Wisconsin and whatever is, Trump's people were basically striking a deal with the Clintons that if Trump gets in, the Clintons walk. And I think that's why Hillary conceded so gracefully, and Obama did as well.
Hillary did not concede. Hillary did not concede graciously. She didn't concede on election night. She beat up her campaign manager when she did show up to make a speech the next day dressed in purple. I mean, it looked like she'd been rode hard and put away wet. And certainly these ongoing riots in Portland and this campaign of death threats against the electors signals to me that John Podesta was correct when he said, we're not done with this yet. So I think the deal that was made between Trump and Hillary is much more recent. And basically they said, I'll make sure you don't go to prison. You stop attacking our electors, and you tone these riots down. So what we'll see, by this time next week, we'll know if the rioters and the hackers and the death threats go away. Then we'll know that was the nature of the deal.
Yeah, at least he appeared to concede graciously. But I agree. And prison's too good for her anyway. I think they should send her to Haiti and make her do what Gary Hagan was doing.
I think they ought to make Hillary the ambassador to Libya, and when she calls for help, they ignore her.
That would work too, either way. Putting her in prison to stare at the wall all day is too good for her anyway.
Well, again, even prison isn't enough. The way that you really hurt a money junkie is you take their money away. Larry Klayman had a solid RICO lawsuit against the Clinton Foundation, and had it not been blocked by a Clinton-appointed judge, that would have emptied the place. And don't forget, the IRS is still investigating the Clinton Foundation as to whether it's really a tax-exempt 501c3. And if the IRS concludes it isn't, the resulting tax bill, and it won't be a criminal prosecution, but that resulting tax bill for the Clintons will make them poor again.
Well, let's hope so. I'm sure they'll find a way around it, though.
Well, I really don't want to see that. I don't want to see our kids have to grow up in a world where if they steal a can of beer from a convenience store, they're going to go to prison for 5 years. But if their rulers steal the country from them and lie to them, that it's perfectly okay. I subscribe to the founding principles of this nation, that it is a nation of laws that apply equally to everybody, from the guy laying the bricks on the patio all the way up to the occupant of the Oval Office themselves. That's the nation that I support, and that's the nation that I want to get us back to. Not this new feudalism where the nobility are immune for their acts.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay?
Alrighty.
All right, thanks an awful lot for the phone call. We're going to let you go here. Starting to think the phone lines didn't work here. Now then, the central banks are indicating their next move. They're definitely on a roll to try and ban cash so that your money is always in their banks, at which point they can start raising their service fees and you can't do a thing about it. Now, they've already started banning cash in large part over in India. They almost crashed the economy. Gold is pushing close to $3,000 an ounce over there. Somebody wrote on in and said, we need to do like Goldfinger and get a Rolls Royce that, is really made out of gold and, send it over there and make a bunch of money. But that's what's going on. We're being told we should not even have the freedom to have the wealth that we work for in our own pocket. And that really is absurd. If all of the money is in the banks and the banks collapse, there's nothing out here for us to function on, is there? This is not a policy that really is planning for the welfare of the nation and the American people in the event of an economic catastrophe. This is a policy that, as usual, is there to protect the banks. Because in the eyes of our government, banks are very important, and you people, well, you're only good for breeding new workers and soldiers. You couldn't even vote for Hillary, so why should we give a codswallop about you here? Now, over in Germany, Alternative for Germany, Member of Parliament Beatrice von Storch is saying that there should be an investigation into Angela Merkel because her open-door immigration policy has led to thousands of deaths of migrants drowning in the Mediterranean. And it's a bit of a reach, but it is a legitimate point. Here in the United States, we'd call it an attractive nuisance. If you have something really cool on your property and some kids come into your yard to look at it really closely and they get hurt, they can sue you. Because even though they're on your property illegally, you had an attractive nuisance. You lured them in. Well, that's what Angela Merkel did with the open-door immigration policy. Come on in, we'll give you free stuff. And a lot of people died as a result. So there is legitimate grounds to say, yes, Angela Merkel bears part of the responsibility for those thousands of deaths. Now, we're hearing here in the U.S. that Obama's going away to President Trump is to try and magnify the impact of the immigration crisis as hard as possible so that Trump possibly can't undo it. And we are seeing a report where border agents have been ordered to leave the corridors open, and illegals are flooding in right now, 1,500 per day. Complicating that problem is that federal officials are saying that thousands of blank green cards have all of a sudden gone missing. And these cards could be used to allow terrorists and criminals to stay in the country, or just any illegal who can come up with the money. And here's where it gets into really bizarro land. Okay, over in Denver, Colorado, there is a sheriff a sheriff's department rather, that has as their employment policy, you must be a U.S. citizen to be in the sheriff's department. Loretta Lynch's Department of Justice has just hit the Denver Sheriff Department with a fine for refusing to hire non-citizens into the position of sheriffs. I mean, that to me, that is way over the shark on that one. All right, we're going to go ahead and grab a phone call. Bernard in Vancouver, aloha, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Good morning, or good day. What's on my mind is the assassination of the late President Kennedy, but also the nature of security of your presidents. But I'll mention a thing first. There was an interview this morning on CBC with the granddaughter of Zapruder, and you're talking about Dan Rather, what she reports, and she just studied this and knows it well and has written a book on it. She said Dan Rather was part of a group that had a gentleman's agreement that no one would take advantage and jump the gun and go public with a report before a certain time or whatever, but he did jump the gun, and she thinks he was mistaken, maybe being a little generous. So if he's got it wrong and he also gets the jump on the gun, it seems like he's in a position to get that implanted in the public mind in kind of an insidious way.
Well, there's no gentleman's agreement within the world of the corporate media. Stories have what is called an embargo time, and that is to allow the stories to be distributed to all the members of a syndication group, and everybody is under contract to say that they can't run it until the embargo time. Maybe rather jumped the gun, but to this very day he's never acknowledged that he made a mistake all the way back there in Texas. He simply won't talk about it. And to me, that doesn't mean it's a simple mistake, because he could say, I made a mistake, heat of the moment, I made a mistake, and but he won't touch it. He absolutely won't touch it, won't acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm. Well, she said he was paid $50,000 for the print photo rights and $100,000 for the movie rights. So, and then the excuse that Time Life gave them was that the pictures were too graphic and too shocking and couldn't be shown to the public. So, and they didn't choose to do a film or anything. They just sat on it, as you say, until the Garrison probe.
And then, what's really interesting, I remember this very vividly, when Garrison's trial made the Zapruder film public. Okay, the corporate media printed clips from the Zapruder film, and they reversed the two around the headshot to support the head being flung forward story. I mean, if you look at my John F. Kennedy page, you will see all the corporate media was lying through their teeth, even back then. We've got to take a break for commercials, Bernard. Thank you for the phone call. We'll be right back.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
HealthForLiberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protovite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to HealthForLiberty.com right now. That's HealthForLiberty.com.
Thank you, Protovite, for giving my life back.
It's time for you to have your own custom smartphone app for your business and pay way less than you can imagine. Introducing the I Can Get To Silent Salesman Mobile Marketing app, a global mobile marketing and communication tool for your business. Go to appsapart.com and learn how you can earn up to $36,351 or more per month just by inviting 2 people or less into a $14.95 per month program. Go to appsapart.com and be sure to watch the video at the top of the site and listen to the audio message from the CEO near the bottom. This is something you won't want to miss. Go to appsapart.com or call 646-860-9540. That's 646-860-9540.
Hi, my name is Chris. Since the 1970s, I've been actively making products available that support good health. What makes my juices flow is helping mankind get healthy. Today, I'm going to tell you about a product that will help your juices to flow. I am excited to recommend Dr. Miller's Holy Tea to you. Even if we are eating a clean diet, these impurities are entering our bodies. Holy Tea moves these poisons that are creating havoc with our health out of our bowels. It works on the whole digestive system. The 5 tasty herbs are combined to provide an amazing detoxifying and healing tea that will rid your body of the pollutants and soothe your digestive tract, and in some cases, help you lose weight. It is critical for our health to move all of the environmental toxins from our bodies. The Holy Tea can do that. As a hydrocolon therapist, remember, with every BM, you're supporting RBN. www.holytea.org. 800-326-2001.
When all this twists and feels, what's the west what really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. The Tantrum Squad is still messing around with my system. And we'll just have to put up with their nonsense until they decide that they're going to go away. But I did want to go back. I'm putting up the sub-page of my John F. Kennedy assassination page. And basically it shows that, yes, even all the way back in 1963, the corporate media was feeding you a line of bovine excrement at the behest of the government. And in particular, this has to do with the December 14th, 1963 issue of Post. And even back then, I was 11 years old at the time. Even back then, I had the instincts of an archivist, and I saved everything related to the Kennedy assassination. And I didn't really look at it until Jim Garrison's case against Clay Shaw. Then I actually looked very closely, objectively, at what was in these publications, and I could see there's a problem. And one example that has always been there, there was a photograph on page 22 of this December 14th, 1963 issue of Post magazine where they had a photo, the assassin's view. And the photo's been taken through a rifle scope, and it's looking down the road and the cars in front, and they have two people playing Kennedy and Connolly, and they're perfectly lined up. And yes, it just makes perfect sense that the same bullet struck them both. There's only one problem. It's not taken from the 6th floor of the book depository. It's taken from the ground floor of the Daltex building, which, by the way, witnesses said one of the assassins was there. The Post staged a photo, and what's really interesting is the very distinctive brickwork of the book depository is visible on the right-hand side of this photo. You know it's not from inside the book depository. And it's just amazing. And then, of course, there was the photo taken by AP photographer James Alkins that captured the moment Kennedy grabbed his throat. And in the doorway, you can see Lee Harvey Oswald at ground level. I mean, it really is very obvious when you go back and look at it objectively what's going on. So, anyway, getting on back to immigration and the rest of it. Barack Obama and Angela Merkel are out there saying globalization is here to stay. They're out there saying we're going to make sure Donald Trump can't undo our push for the one world government. We're here to stay forever. And I can imagine the Roman emperors or even Alexander the Great saying the same thing. Our empire spans the globe. It'll never, ever go away. And then, of course, it did. A little bit of arrogance going on there. Laura Ingraham is out there correctly saying, we have a mass of humanity just walking across the border and availing themselves of social services while we ignore our veterans. And there's a solution. Let's make welfare as hard to get as veterans' benefits, and a lot of these problems are going to go away. We got to take a break here for station identification. We'll be right back.
Only a fool would go to a plumber for brain surgery. But otherwise intelligent people use internet searches to find such gems as Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK with 3 shots from the rear and 1 shot from the front. They get similar financial guidance when they are investigating cryptocurrencies. RBN listeners know that American currency has not been lawful money for nearly 50 years, since the thieves at the Fed stole the silver out of the coins and began reneging on redeemable notes in 1968. Now that the dollar has just about inflated totally away, and banks want reverse interest to keep your books, the high-tech world has brought you an alternative. What if you could buy, sell, and trade with fellow business people from your home with zero bank fees? If you believe banking tyranny must end, then join the digital currency movement now. Call investigative journalist Pat Shannon at 601-212-0911.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth. What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero? The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 2 here, and the phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And, boy, my server is just under amazingly intense attack right now, and I have to wonder why. What does it signify? I mean, the election is over. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's much to be had, much to be gained with this kind of behavior other than tantrums and so forth and so on. But I'll just have to wait and deal with this, after the show is over, because they always pick when I'm on the air to do this, because they know I can't do 3 things at once here. Now then, Chris Matthews took Rachel Maddow to task. Rachel Maddow is fully on board with this idea that anybody who rejects the illegal immigrants or the refugees are being heartless and racist and all the rest of that.
Tonight at
and
11.
Chris Matthews took her to task for saying, look, the American people are against illegal immigration, and
I'm
it's
not
not
a slave.
racism.
I've broken the conditioning. It doesn't work on me.
Okay,
I'm primitive,
it's economic,
I'm real,
and it
I
is
know
the
the
fact
enemy,
that
and if we can have the spirit of normal humanity spread,
it's
it's over
reward
for the
people for
globalist.
criminal behavior, whether it's an illegal immigrant or Hillary Clinton.
Excuse me.
This is not
illegal is not a
InfoWars
race,
Nightly News,
Rachel.
where the answer to 1984
We're going to go to the phones here. Mo in
is
Florida,
not
aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
$19.95 plus
Hi, Michael.
shipping and handling.
I had a topic,
But the answer is to try and understand the double barrel bullcrap, the double speak, and the Orwellian wonderland we now find ourselves in. So sit back and relax as I take you through a real alternative look at the news and so-called alternative media alike. Enjoy.
This whole Pizzagate thing looks just like the Franklin credit thing.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. Pizzagate is a poison the well propaganda operation, and today we saw the corporate media uncork, and I told everybody from the beginning, this smelled like a setup. And the corporate media has uncorked on the independent media saying, oh, see, we investigated, there's nothing but pizza parlors there. Look how silly the independent media was for reporting this. It proves they're just full of fake news, and you shouldn't believe them when they say there's pedophiles or that Hillary was cheating the election or any of the other things here. Okay, thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to let you go.
Aaron
All
Banks,
right.
or whatever his name is.
Let's see.
And all the people behind it and whatnot, but I've never really gravitated
Just sending a
towards
message to the
information.
control room. I am not taking phone calls about Pizzagate.
Tend not to go near it, 'cause
I
it's
told
just
you it was a
repeat,
setup
repeat,
and a
repeat,
fraud,
repeat.
and
So,
that's exactly what it turned out to be.
tonight
Poison
I
the
got-
well.
I think it must have been maybe a month ago or something when I was starting.
And Poison the Well has been used a lot. They even used it on Jim Garrison during his trial of Clay Shaw. There's a little bit of history you probably ought to be aware of. And what it was is, and by the way, Richard Secord eventually did admit Clay Shaw had been a CIA agent,
Literally
a
cannot
contract agent.
trying.
So that was verified years later. And how they sabotaged Jim Garrison's case against Clay Shaw was they got a witness on the inside of the case. Guy came in, said he'd seen Clay Shaw and Lee Harvey Oswald, and it all seemed to check on out. And Garrison put him on the stand in front of the jury, at which point one of the government's lawyers came up there and sort of led this witness into how he would fingerprint his own daughter every night to make sure they were not planting a substitute on her. And of course, it absolutely discredited Jim Garrison's entire case to have such a loon as a witness, and of course that was the whole point. They were poisoning the well. And they did it again during the House Select Committee on Assassinations, which, by the way, did include John F. Kennedy did die was the victim of a conspiracy, that there were multiple shooters in Dealey Plaza. And the way they tried to poison the well there was they made a big deal over the fact that photos in this Zapruder film catch this one guy standing by the motorcade route with an open umbrella. And they planted this story. The poison umbrella had a dart gun in it. Rather, the umbrella had a poison dart gun in there that paralyzed John Kennedy so he couldn't move when he was being shot at. And that was put out all over what would have passed for the independent media, blogs, and talk radio back then. So when the House Select Committee started up, the very first thing they did is they had identified the individual in the photo, and they had gotten the actual umbrella. And they opened it up and showed it to be just an umbrella, and they're making jokes about, don't point that thing at me, it might be dangerous. And, you know, how silly those conspiracy theorists were to think there was anything out of sorts with the Warren Report. And by the way, that phrase conspiracy theorist was literally crafted for the JFK assassination because of all the problems in the official story that kept surfacing. Oh, it's a conspiracy theory. You don't want to pay attention. It's a conspiracy theory. Media! The acoustic data was so irrefutable, the House Select Committee did have to conclude there were multiple shooters in Dealey Plaza, and hence John F. Kennedy was the victim of an assassination.
Why isn't Donald Trump
conspiracy
prosecuting his best friend Hillary Clinton?
A moment to do our shout out to our affiliates.
I cannot believe
welcome to hour number 2 of the show.
Presidential candidate
assassination
would stand up there and lie to us.
Attack the propaganda system, propaganda tactic rather, that was used back then and is being used now with this whole Pizzagate nonsense. And that's all it was. This story was planted out there to try and make the independent media look like there's fake news by the corporate media that's still trying to pretend they're the real news. All right, we're going to take a phone call here. Dustin in New Jersey. Aloha, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Let's just, that's us strapped in for another 8 years. That's
oh man, they would have been just, well, I mean, you know, it's Italians versus the Hispanics.
We're doing this shit with your consent, you unthinking fucking dickheads.
And I gotta tell you,
you voted for this.
I got like
you participated in this charade.
I demand you. You're obviously selling out to the Hillary campaign if you don't put this on your website. And of course, that to me was telegraphing, you know, somebody, this isn't research. Somebody's selling this. And there was never anything to the case. It was all rumor and innuendo. And if you squint your eyes real hard, the logo for the pizza place kind of sort of looks like an emblem that pedophiles use according to the FBI, blah, 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 blah. There was never anything there. And the more I got shouted at in the email that I had to post this thing, the more obvious to me it was some kind of a propaganda operation. And I emailed all of my fellow members of the independent media, and I said, be very, very careful about this. This stinks to high heaven.
There's my 6. Now go and take my consent and do what the fuck you want with it. Because that's your say over and done with. You have participated in the downfall, the ushering in of the one world currency happening, EU superstate happening on the back of Brexit, and Britain still paying for it. Make any sense? Does it make any sense? No. So in the evening, everybody, Nimi, how you doing, Coke Man, Paddy,
parts of the military that believe in globalism, and also in the State Department, Mike. So he has to weed these people out, and he better do it quick. You know, because they're in NATO also. Elements of the British,
very much so in NATO. Right now, the heart of the globalist movement is in that EU. That was supposed to be the beginning step, followed by the North American Union. But the EU is stumbling. If it comes apart, the globalist vision is over at least for our lifetime.
I mean, they're literally pointing and laughing at you. Go, are you a sheep? Come here daily for your daily bunch of bullshit. We'll go into that as well. We are the new world order. We are change. We look. I fell out of Putin's ball sack, Radowski. Yet again, I kid you not, I do have illusions of grandeur. There's very little that will convince me a lot of these morons are not watching the barrage of criticism, right, in my humble opinion.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with you. I mean, there are a lot of issues that need to be looked at, and certainly the opposition to globalism is an important one. I don't know that it's really the top one. I think reviving our economy, bringing back manufacturing, getting rid of GMOs so that we can grow agricultural produce other nations want to buy, I think these are very important and much more pressing.
7 directions, does they know what's going on? Yeah, huge move, man! Russia's just unleashed a robot army across the entire Arctic Middle East. What does that mean, mate? Russia's got a sub in Sweden, boom! Huge move! Alex Fatman Jones, he speaks for himself, it's so funny, man. Let's see how the fat Jabba the Hutt fuck
neo-feudal
explains Trump.
You know, I mean, the plan was definitely to have all of the agriculture in one area, all of the manufacturing
yes,
in another,
Trump's done a secret deal to save the country. We'll know in weeks if it was a real deal between Clinton and Trump to stop all the protesters and anarchy.
This black oil price war against Russia and all these sanctions, which are forcing other nations to become more self-sufficient internally. And be able to provide for themselves internally and not do trade across the border. That actually is eroding the globalist vision. And it does look to me like the European Union is about to come apart.
Oh yeah, new world order,
that will
fashion
basically be the end of the push for globalism.
Yeah, we had some sort of music video award shit or something. He's all over it as usual. Phone up every celebrity you haven't heard of, and when you started actually concentrating on shit that matters, until you
absolutely, I would look at it that way.
Doing stupid wee candle camera stunts and telling you to vote for Trump. And keeping you informed as to what the Illuminati celebrities are doing on a daily basis. Left-wing taxi driver, the artist formerly known as Taxi Driver. The taxi Corbyn
it's self-destructive. It's self-destructive. Rome basically operated. They had a very wealthy capital city, and they had a lot of welfare and gladiatorial games, and they funded it all by going on out and expanding their empire and conquering new territories to tax them to prop up that ruling class in Rome. When they ran out of wealthy areas to conquer, the whole thing collapsed because it was a pyramid system. And Rome collapsed and split into the Eastern and Western empires. The Western Empire basically collapsed, triggering the descent into the Dark Ages. The Eastern Empire continued until the Ottoman Empire, and then it too collapsed about World War I.
I mean, all these systems are pyramid systems. Communism, socialism, fascism. There's always somebody on top pulling the strings for the rest of the suckers.
Well, they're hierarchical structures. They're pyramids only if they require a constant enlargement of the base to support it, like a Ponzi scheme. You can have a stable economy and a stable nation that is able to perpetuate itself. It's still going to have rulers and a ruling hierarchy, but it doesn't qualify as a pyramid scheme in the economic sense.
Cool music, man.
Yeah, that's what makes me
laugh. Our site's under attack, man. The Illuminati's onto us. We've been shut down and censorship and all this shit. Yeah, well,
you'll see that of all the elites, the idea is they want socialism for everybody
and stop trying
at the ground level. They want to be rich themselves. We saw exactly the same thing in the Soviet Union.
And probably
and they made a mockery of Karl Marx's theories
because
the Soviet Union created the most powerful ruling class in history in theory to support the classless society.
And here we go, straight from the Daily Sheeple. cannot wait to hear how they explain
well,
this.
certainly history has said,
yes, well, Trump must have
no
had
nation
fell
lasts
and
forever,
bumped
no
himself
system
on the
lasts
head.
forever.
The Illuminati
They go
got
through this
into his ear
life
cavity
cycle
and
of
implanted the
birth
chip.
and
Now he's just
enthusiasm,
acting
then
all New World
complacency,
Order-esque.
dependency,
I could have
and
never
finally
seen it
collapse
coming.
when they just can't pay for the bread and
The Daily
circuses
Sheeple
anymore.
would never have seen it coming. That's
why you see your age is the future.
But anyway,
Saying that.
censored! Daily Sheeple shut
it
down
is.
for expose.
Okay.
For
All right, thanks. We're going to switch over to Peter in
abuse.
Los Angeles.
I'm
Aloha,
going
Peter.
laugh
Welcome
at
to
the
the show. What's on your
diction and
mind?
stuff, Because I fuck up so much. So sometimes I
Peter,
read the
are you
rules
there?
I put
There
up and
you
I get
are.
spelling wrong in the memes and stuff.
I can hear you
5
now.
minutes, I could fix it.
Yes,
I don't
you're on
give
the
a
air.
shit about spelling properly. See if
Happy
people can
turkeys to you
understand
too.
the message I'm trying to portray. It's all good with me. You know how much in a box not being able to spell has kept me in my whole entire life? You got to try and express yourself through the beauty of the spoken word, and you can't spell half the shit you want to say, so you're like, oh no, they'll think I'm stupid because I can't spell, man, and then you don't even fucking communicate with people. And then in longevity, it does make you not stupid because you're not communicating and expressing yourself. You feel like you're in a spell box, man. I need to learn how to spell properly, man. Wait, I'll still laugh at these muppets. The Daily Sheeple shut down or expose exposure on Twitter.
Well, I agree with that, and that's why Trump's announcement regarding Hillary Clinton is such a disappointment to a lot of people. And like I said, I don't like his decision. I think I understand why he made it.
Let's go to the first things first.
And of course, the fact that he, as president, isn't planning criminal investigations of Hillary Clinton. I note that he didn't rule out non-criminal investigations like the IRS
calling somebody on your radio show,
hey,
Johnny Gimp mouth whistles, you can't speak properly because you get no teeth. Let's laugh at it every night.
That aren't criminal investigations, at least not yet.
I'm one of the editors over at the Daily Sheeple.
She's also an ex-Alex Jones employee who's never, ever opened her mouth about why the left InfoHorse, possibly because of the confidentiality contract you have to sign to work for one of the greatest truth seekers out there. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Come and work for the truth! Come and fight for freedom with me! Now, just sign here so you can never talk about anything that you've ever seen in my secret lair. Melissa Melton. This is the one that used to pump Aaron Dykes. Now, I don't know, I'm just reading between the lines here. I think Aaron Dykes get fucking sick and tired of getting bullied off of Alex Jones and getting rolled out every day to sell a tub of Tangy Tangerine because Aaron Dykes to me looked like he lost fucking tons of weight for depression, stress, working with Alex Jones, getting overworked, all that shit. What's the Tangy Tangerine?
First of all, it turns out there actually is a budget allocation to build a border fence that goes all the way back to the George W. Bush administration. They set the money aside, it's never been used, and it's still there. Second, we don't really need a war. I keep joking about let's just throw crocodiles in the Rio Grande, but all President Trump has to do is tell everybody who runs a social service network based on taxpayer dollars, you are not allowed to spend that money on somebody who is not supposed to be in this country.
What I was saying.
Citizens,
and no respect
holders,
for Joe
people who are in the proper legal immigration framework, yes, they can go on welfare and get SNAP and all the rest of that. But if you really think about it, it is fraud for any of these agencies to take tax money from the American citizens and spend them on people who are not legally supposed to be here. And all we have to do is do that. If the supply of goodies dries up, nobody's going to want to come to this country. They know there's no work here.
I honestly think I'm going to read that. But in fairness, I never really spoke to the guy. Kev Faker had his ear. Kev Faker's a wee rat boy.
Yeah, but you know, again, Eisenhower with his Operation Wetback shut it all down with only 10% of the resources of the current immigration, border control.
He's a wee rat, think.
They've got 10 times the facility. They're being ordered to stand down. All Trump has to do is tell the existing system, do your job.
No, but no offense, you had 10 times the charisma and knowledge and fucking wherefore than he will ever have. So kept me at arm's length away from all the secret dealings with Joe Joseph and all that. So God only knows what Kev Faker told Joe Joseph about me. But for Joe Joseph's
You know, and
persecution,
then I'm
not
hoping
defence.
that Trump keeps his word about an
He never
accommodation with
fucking
Russia.
none of them ever came
But,
forward to speak to me about
in
anything.
my
I was doing a
opinion,
radio
you
show
can't
on my
have
own
anything
with
without
them,
accountability
and they
of
never
government.
even spoke to me.
It may as well
It's
not
just a
even be there. We may as well not
weird
be
thing. And
talking
I'm
about
so
anything.
glad I'm short of all
If
these
they're completely
motherfuckers.
out of control,
And as
which
you guys
and
may
I,
have
I'm sure
seen, our
agree on
site
that,
was
that they
down
are.
earlier
and
today.
they can't be brought to
Your
heel
site
and
was
held
down,
accountable.
so it was shut down.
So
We were hit.
Oh, and it was
Well,
for
Trump got his
Pizzagate.
job cut out for him,
Right,
and again,
I'm not-
and I said
I'm
this
holding my
on the
fire
day
on
after
this
the election
Pizzagate
day.
shit.
Anybody who thinks that Trump is
I've
going to
heard
fix
Mike
everything
Rivero
now that
say
he's
a
won the
few wise
presidency,
things on it in a sense, and I've
he's
not
dreaming.
protected
It's going
myself,
to take
so
a
none of
long
his
time,
opinions
and
are
we
my own.
are going to
I'm
have to
relaying
help him.
information that I've heard
We,
from
the
sources
American
that
people,
will
are going to have to
allow
stand shoulder
me
to
look
shoulder
into it
with
myself and come
President
to a better
Trump,
conclusion.
and we're going to have to
Mike
glare
Rivero was
through those
talking about
front
it's
windows of
coming
the
out on the
offices
back
of the
heels of
senators
this
and
fake news
representatives
stuff.
and say, you work for us. You don't work for Big
Emails.
Pharma. You don't work for the military-industrial complex. You don't work for
I need to
Israel.
look into
You
that and
either
see
do
how
your job
genuine the
properly, or
emails
next
were.
election we will do to
'cause
you
there's some
what
emails
we
in
did
there
to
that I don't
Hillary
think is
Clinton.
genuine that
And the
come through the
message will
WikiLeaks
sink
stuff.
in. But we're all
And
going to
they're
have to
talking
work
about space
together to
aliens and all
support
that,
President
or
Trump.
new-
Thank you for the call,
they're
Peter.
talking
Got to let
code
you
or
go. Got to
something.
take a commercial
And they
break.
say
We'll
the
be right
Pizzagate
back.
is code and all that stuff. And hey man, like every paedophile string them up with their balls until they're dead. In hindsight, it's looking like this has been a red herring. To what? To make people look foolish, shut down sites, copyright them, and to label them fake news. Hey, who am I to point out shit like that? The
Only
Daily
a fool
Sheeple.
would go to a
Was what
plumber
I
for brain
believe
surgery.
is basically
But otherwise,
a
intelligent
censorship
people use
campaign
internet searches
over
to
a
find
story
such
we
You
gems
believe
as
it's a
Lee Harvey
censorship
Oswald
campaign.
killed
I believe it's a
JFK with
scam.
3 shots from
I
the
believe
rear
one of the
and 1
artists
shot from the front.
whose pictures has
They
been
get
used in
similar
this
financial
bullcrap.
guidance when they are
It's now out
investigating
there.
cryptocurrency.
Copyright striking everybody. Go and pay me
listeners
money.
know that American currency is
He's
not
an
for lawful
artist.
money
People
for
are parroting
nearly
his
50
shit.
years. Since the
If he's
thieves
not a
of the Fed stole
paedophile,
the
you would
silver
be
out
out
of the
there
coin
fucking
and
shutting
began
every cunt
emitting
down for
unredeemable
parroting
notes
your
in
work without
1968.
fucking asking and even relating
Now
it
that
to
the dollar
paedophile
has
shit.
just about
I
inflated
don't know
totally
about this.
away,
I'm just
and
saying,
banks want
look,
reverse
it was
interest to
happening.
keep your books.
ran
The high-tech
during the
world has
election.
brought you an alternative.
All day today,
What if
we've
you could
had
buy,
strange
sell,
warnings
and
being
trade
sent
with
out to
fellow
readers
business people
about
from your
how
home with zero bank
the
fees?
account is
If
suspended,
you believe
or
banking
that
tyranny
if they
must
try to go
end,
to it, they
then
get
join the
warnings saying
digital
that
currency
connection's not
movement
secure and
now.
that logins entered
Call
on the page
investigative journalist Pat
compromised.
Shannon
They're
at
trying to keep people from going to our
601-212-0911.
website.
Maybe your website's compromised behind all that
Extendovite
malware.
is more than just a heart tonic.
I'm not
Most
saying it
basic
is.
diseases
I've been there.
are
I don't
caused
give
by
a shit.
yeast in
I
the
know
gut
back in
and
poops
metals
with
in the
all
liver,
sorts, man.
and we
Batter
all
the
have
hell
a
in.
bit of both.
But
The
maybe
garlic
your
in
website's full of
Extendovite
shit.
has a yeast-killing
Maybe
effect
it's a
in the
very
gut,
easy
while
Google
also helping
tactic
the
to keep
sulfur
people away
enzyme in
from
the
shit they
liver
don't
get
want
rid
them
of
to
the
look at.
metals. Extendovite just may
The
improve
reason we
your
believe this
overall
is happening
health. Products
is
like Extendovite are the
story
only way
that
we
they're
are going to
trying to
get our
censor.
society healthy.
We received a
And if you're waiting
DCMA
for the government and pharmaceutical care to solve your health
copyright
problems, you're
violation
going to have
for
a
an
long,
image
disappointing
that was actually a
wait,
screen
I think.
capture of an Instagram
Extendovite
post
is a complete formula
that we
for
reported
extended
on
life in
in
the
a
new
story
millennium.
about
80 can be
what
the
has
new 60.
come to be known as
Extendovite is
Pizzagate.
available in capsule or
What
liquid
she's
form
feeling
for
to miss
just
out
$69.95 for a
here is
2-month
the
supply.
shit that they've
To get started,
removed
call
is only
1-877-928-8822.
copyrighted material from an
That's
artist.
1-877-928-8822
They haven't censored the story, the emails, all the rest of the pictures. One particular picture. No, we're under attack from the Illuminati because we're the only one reporting on Pizzagate.
Voices that counter this
Pizzagate's
avalanche
everywhere.
is becoming
That has
increasingly
been
difficult.
reported
With the
on
endless corruption running
all over
rampant throughout our
alternative
government,
media.
independent
But they're
voices
just
are needed
attacking
more than
us.
ever to battle the offensive
Reddit,
against our
4chan,
freedoms and liberties. As a
having to do with
listener
this
of RBN,
creepy,
no one
disturbing
understands understand
set of
the concept better
emails
than you. Now it's
found
up to
in the
you to do
Podesta
your
WikiLeaks
part.
emails
The time has come for
referring
you
to
take action
pizza,
and begin
but it
broadcasting
doesn't
the
really
truth
sound
to
they're
hundreds
talking
of
about
thousands
pizza.
of people every month.
And
Sound
many
impossible?
reports have come
Quite the
out that this
contrary.
is tied
With
to a
pointed
pedophile
slogans from
ring that is...
Many
libertystickers.com,
no, they can't even state their own opinion. Many 9 out of 10 cats agree there are reports out there that say this Pizzagate thing is related to paedophile rings. What do you think, Melissa Melton? What's your opinion on it?
So many in
Run
stock.
through
There's one perfect
a
for you.
DC
Visit us today at
pizza restaurant.
libertystickers.com.
So the Daily
Again,
Sheeple was
that's
merely
libertystickers.com.
reporting on the
Do your
reports
part.
of the
Your voice is
information
important.
that
Let
this
it be
is...
heard.
We're reporting on the reports. That sounds like Polly want a cracker! Polly want a cracker! They're reporting on the reports.
What really happened?
Melissa, Did you learn that in journalism school?
What really happened?
Yes, I'm not a journalist, I'm a reporter.
On the future, and let's consider what
going
really
on.
happened.
This is a
Hello,
hangover
America.
for your
Welcome back to the
Infowars
show
week.
here. We're going to go right back to our
And
telephone lines here. Frank
A
in
third-party
London, aloha.
company
Welcome to
sent
the
a
show. What's on your
violation
mind?
Directly to our hosting company.
Yeah, hi, Mike.
And
No, I just
A
wanted to
hosting
address
company?
the,
I don't understand the
idiocy of,
language. This must be different for the
globalization,
UK.
financial
I don't run a
globalization.
website with any of that shit.
If
Are they talking
one
about their
country gets
ISP,
hit,
the internet
everybody
service
goes down.
provider,
So
or their hosting
I
company?
believe in nationalism,
Well, hosting
where
company that'd be
nations are able to
GoDaddy or
take care of
something, wouldn't it?
themselves. Because
If you use
there's no
somebody
financial
else's server
firewall.
out with
It
your
just
thing that
doesn't
you
make
host your
sense to me.
website,
What they want to
right?
do, put everybody
So
on
it'd be
a
GoDaddy or
rural,
something.
So welfare state where they
if GoDaddy was
give
American and they
everybody
got
hands
a
out where they can
copyright
eat,
strike,
enough
they would
just
be
to eat
legally
cheap
bound
GMO food and
to act
die out.
upon that.
Yeah,
Well, that's certainly part of it. The whole idea of a global government is you don't have any choice. You know, this is the government, this is the world, this is your Michelle Obama school lunch menu that you're going to be eating, and you don't have any more choice. And you'll be forced to be dependent on paper currency or electronic currency loaned at interest to keep you a debt slave. The whole point of globalism is to turn the entire planet into a single slave plantation. And by the way, you're the slave. And you're right. It's very, very dangerous. Okay, because I agree. National borders serve the same function as fireproof doors in a building or watertight hatches in a ship. They contain a problem so it doesn't threaten the structure as a whole. Now, the globalists want to block open the fireproof doors and just simply remove the watertight hatches because they think things are going to run better. They can run around the entire structure unimpeded and feel important. But the first fire or the first leak will destroy the entire system. I think humanity is best served with a planet Earth that has 1,000 little tiny, roughly equally sized and shaped nations that are each taking care of their own people. And yes, there's still going to be some trade across the border and tourism and all the rest of it. But we don't have this situation where a single large company can threaten the rest of the world to conform their economic realities to the benefit of a foreign power. And certainly this idea that there's going to continue to be experimentation in new ways of organizing societies.
The daily
something else globalism will end.
Following rules right off the fucking cliff.
Short of a complete total breakdown and collapse, there'll be nobody out there saying, let's try a different system. See, that was the beauty of the United States of America. When they broke free from Europe, they had an opportunity to say, let's try something a little bit different. Let's try a government where there is no central ruler with autocratic power. Let's try a country that doesn't have a state religion. Let's try a country that makes its own money and doesn't borrow it at interest from the banking families of Europe. These were all truly revolutionary ideas, and they're what made the United States
So she
great
believes
in the first
this,
place.
and she guesses
But of course, the banking cartels have always been attacking
government
government-issued currencies. They want us to be their debt slaves.
Censorship and silencing of
politicians in our own country have tried to consolidate power in Washington, D.C. to take us back to being a mirror of the monarchies of Europe. In fact, we had that ridiculous editorial in the New York Times about a week ago saying maybe it's time to get rid of all this electoral college nonsense and just have a monarchy in this country.
The terms and conditions.
I mean, that's basically an insult to everybody who helped bring this nation into being all those years ago. To just say, let's just go back to making the same mistakes Europe did.
If you go to the Daily Sheeple and you try to search for that,
all right, thanks an awful lot.
I thought you said you were shut down!
Alex, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Speak up! But you're saying you're shut down!
Aloha, Mike. I was calling because I'd like to ask you a
story
question
got
regarding
over 30,000
Hillary
views.
and Trump
If you try to click on it, however, it still says account suspended. I have cleaned the cache multiple times. It's still saying that.
Did she just admit to money laundering? Did she say she cleaned the cash many times? That's what it is. That they haven't split up for InfoHorse. They're just a side operation to launder money for the fat man's sideline.
That page that our account is suspended. Luckily, we live in a time period, at least for now, I don't know what they plan to do with it eventually, where people can go to the Internet Archive Wayback Machine and they can archive links. And as you can see, this story has been archived by multiple people many different times since it's gone up. But
Valerie Jarrett
even if you go back to
in
the
the
very
day.
first
And they
archived
said
version
that,
of this story,
since we
what you'll
stopped
notice
hearing her, a
is
lot
there's
of
all
things
these
started
creepy
leaking
pictures
out
of Instagram.
even more.
Right,
all right,
right.
well,
So
Alex,
they've
I'm
only
going to have to
took
put you on hold. We
one
got to take
picture
another break for
out of
commercials.
hundreds.
Don't hang up. I'm going to come
exaggerating,
back
out
to
of
you
loads.
and
One
reply
picture
to
out
the
of loads.
questions.
No
After these
text, no nothing. One picture. Censorship! We're under attack! Hanging around with Fat Man Jones too much.
Posts. They're screen caps of Instagram posts. That particular picture is
Doing screen caps of Instagram posts of artistic material might get you copyright
You are
strikes.
tuned in to the
And I'm not saying this is
Republic
artistic
Broadcasting
material, I'm
Network.
saying if you go around and
Visit our
fucking steal
website
what's
by going
presented to
to
everybody as art.
republicbroadcasting.org.
Mean days were in the gallery of modern art. I can't see it. It don't exist.
right here. And when you try to click
Are
on
you in
it,
foreclosure, expecting to be served
says
with a
page cannot be
foreclosure
displayed due to
lawsuit, or
robots and it won't
suspect
show
your
the
lender
image.
has coerced you into
Earlier
an
there was a
illegal mortgage
Google Cache
transaction?
version,
A
and when
huge
you tried
number
to
of
click on the
mortgages
image,
made in the last 10
Google
years
Cache
have
version,
legal
it was
issues and are
bringing up some
possibly
kind of
defective.
error in
State
Google
laws and
and
the
refused
U.S.
to show
Supreme
that
Court have
particular
upheld
image,
that
not the other
defective
images
mortgage
in the
documents
Google
are
Cache
grounds
version,
for
just that
foreclosure defense and for
And what was
counterclaims
only
in
one
favor
image?
of the homeowner. If your
Which is
mortgage has
probably
been
still
sold or
widely
signed
available if
since
you actually
closing
want
the
to go
loan,
and look
it
for
may
it.
be
It's written
defective
here,
and you
it
may
says,
be
so
paying
this
the
is a
wrong
place where
party
they have
and the
occultic
lender
art
may
music
not have
performances,
standing or
lots
the
of
right to
high-powered people in high
foreclose
places,
or
and
collect
that they
payments
also host
under the
kids'
law. If you would
sleepovers.
like to know
And
if
there was
your
an
mortgage
image
is legal
here
or not,
that
or know
showed
if
4
you are
little
paying the right
girls.
party, we
According
can
to the
help.
person who
Our
posted it
initial
on Instagram, it was
consultations
taken
are
at
free of
this
charge.
particular
We are
pizza
not
place, and it
attorneys.
said
We are
something
legal
about double
researchers and work
sleepovers.
closely
So
with
that's the
experienced
picture.
lawyers
It's
who
a
know how to
screen
help you
cap
find the evidence
of
to
an
help
Instagram
you
post.
keep your home.
So it's
Call
copyrighted
toll-free
material.
1-855-2-KEEP IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT
Doesn't matter if it had little boys and little girls in it.
Today.
It was
Would
copyrighted
odors, mold,
material.
and mildew describe your basement?
And as far as I'm aware, they
it
weren't.
doesn't have to be that way. Transform them into a fresh, healthy, usable one with a technologically advanced
that image was
moisture
apparently
control
so
unit.
copyrighted,
The computerized
the screen
operation
cap of the
maximizes
Instagram
moisture
post
control
that
and also
our
expels
entire
harmful
I
radon.
thought you said it was
combustion gases,
censorship.
and
I
numerous
thought
other
they said they were
pollutants.
attacking you because of
Dehumidifiers
your
are old
content, not
technology
because
that
you were
do
using
nothing for air
copyrighted
quality
material.
and waste energy. Wave units are
I believe that you're a
self-monitoring.
flip-flopping
Do not need
bitch.
units and will save you hundreds in electricity. Wave units are still running effectively
get
over
to this
15 years.
article,
They've been
okay? This
tested
is
and
censorship.
installed in public and
Plain and
military
simple.
housing
And
and by
whatever's
property
really going on with
managers nationwide. Buy
How long
a unit
you
now,
been
and if your
about and
home
you're
is hot,
talking about
fresher and drier, you can return it for a
copyright
full refund for up to
bullcrap is
12 months.
censorship?
What have you got to lose? Call
That
now.
story,
1-888-618-WAVE.
I don't think people even really.
Why don't you make another video and put it up on your YouTube and see how long it stays up there?
You want to know? I know I don't. So
You don't want to know. So she's a reporter that reports on other people's reports, and she doesn't even want to know what fucking happened to you.
Blood pressure, cholesterol,
Depend. Go
or
back to
irregular
sleep
heartbeat.
reading your fairy tale
Are you
stories
looking
about
for
Trump.
a more natural
we have
solution to
now
overcome these health challenges?
removed that image
You
from
hear the
our
ads all the
server
time.
entirely.
If this stuff's so good,
Bah!
doctor.
That's why your site went back up, because you removed the copyrighted material. Right, let's move on to some other bullshit. This was the funny one. This was Joe Joseph.
Take Extendivite for 6 months and your doctor will say, I don't know what you're doing, but don't stop. It's working for you. Get the dependability of Extendivite.
Hey everybody,
Just
Joe
see
Joseph
how
here
you
with
feel in
Hey
6
Joe
months.
Joseph.
A 2-month supply
Now,
of
I
either
can
capsules
talk
or
right
liquid
about
is
having
only
real bad hairlines
$69.95
and
plus shipping
fucking
and
hiding
handling.
it. I don't know
Call
what's hiding behind a big French right? I'm fucking
1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit
My god, man,
hearttalk.com.
does he look like a baldy guy with fucking 3 bits? It looks like he's got hair like Homer Simpson. He's combed the fucking 3 strands down the
Without the
way.
right accessories, any guy can be up the mark.
Again,
Whether
it's
you've
not
invested
big or
thousands in your
clever
arsenal
to
or
laugh
you own
and
a
mock
single
at people
trusted
because they
firearm,
look funny.
visit the A.R.
It's just funny.
It's one of the finest online selections of
DailySheeple.com news
tactical
shot.
optics and AR parts and
Oh
add-ons.
man, I'll tell you
Like
what,
EO
our
Tech,
site's been
quick
attacked
target
something awful
acquisition
over
with no
Attacked?
peripheral
No,
loss.
it's not.
Browse
With a
the full range of
copyright
Nikon
strike, you
scopes
fucking
and
idiot.
binoculars.
the last 72 hours,
AirOpting.com can
actually from
illuminate
Friday
your
through
world
Sunday,
with sake.
We were shut down because of a copyright strike.
Yeah, you're not under attack. You had copyrighted material on your website, you ballbag! Matey, don't let that get in the big way of saying that you're censored.
Due to an image, an Instagram image that we used, detailing the child pedophilia.
It wasn't detailing it, apparently Melissa Melton just told us it was a picture for the fucking restaurant. Not detailing anything, you dick. In fact, all the other details were there. And these, see what I mean, but they can't even tell you the truth.
They cannot even tell you the truth about this. I don't believe these people aren't aware of copyright laws, terms and conditions. The internet tyranny we've been on under YouTube and all that for ages. No man, the Daily Sheeple's under attack.
Scandal with Hillary Clinton and her cronies. And I find this interesting that now all of a sudden fake news, quote unquote, is being
Aloha America, welcome back to the show. We're talking with Alex in San Antonio, and Alex, at this point, President-elect Donald Trump is receiving the same classified daily briefings that President Obama does to bring him up to speed. Now, that's just current events.
Look at all the
Trump is going to have to dig to find out what's going on in the background, but I'm sure those in the know have taken the pains to say, be very careful about getting into this area. And as I've said many, many times before, there are two categories of secrets in Washington, D.C. politics. There are the little scandals, like Anthony Weiner and his sexting problem that become the fodder during campaigns to smear each other with, to wreck careers, get them out of the way as you seek promotion. Then there are the great secrets. The ones
I'm not saying you should go to buy a gas mask if you want to buy a gas mask. But you go to a news website and they're selling you gas masks.
The truth behind
9/11. The boner pills, have they got boner pills in here? If I am correct,
and Hillary Clinton was selling U.S. secrets to foreign governments using her weak private email server to deliver the product, and her charitable foundation to collect and launder the money.
They're not only selling you gas masks.
That is a scandal that could
the apocalypse is coming, man. You know, the New World Order's here. The only thing that's going to save your life is a fucking gas mask and gold bars.
Probably saying, I had nothing to do with this in the first place.
There's a news stream that you would assume is news stream.
Then he might be very amenable to the idea of keeping the lid on this.
Link in there
and try and repair the nation as we move forward.
Their advertiser a click, bastard. What about physical silver? Real crash when you need it most. Silver's and precious metals, you fucking idiots, not cash. Have you ever, I don't know if things are different in America than over here. See, when I was under the brainwashing of Alex Jones, I went out and bought myself a gold bar. It was the size!
Well, yeah, he is. You know, and I think this is going to put the lie to the idea that being a businessman, that he wasn't going to be very good as a politician.
Yeah, man, look, it's going to protect me against inflation. When the New World Order comes, man, I'll have my gold, I'll be all good to go. 2.5 weeks or a month later, and I'm skinned. You know how needing food from my mouth? Right, I'm going to sell my gold bar again. I'm going to lose a bit of money, but I'm going to go and sell it. Oh, you need to send it here. You need to jump through 10 hoops. You can't sell it here. You need to do it here.
And again, somewhere down the road, we may see something break on it. Technically, Donald Trump, by saying, I don't plan to
psychology. The same people that are telling you to invest in fucking gold and silver are the same people that are selling it to you. They might have
to make that a determination once Trump takes office. Okay?
Brain fart half. They might have other interests. They get business interests in selling you that shit. So when
he left
why can't I not think what I'm trying to say here?
The central bank stayed private, but he took control of it, and perhaps
ulterior motives. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm losing it. But anyway, we need to think about this shit, right? So let's get back to the guy.
Certainly with the economy, that's definitely what Trump is going to be doing. He's inheriting an economy that's on the verge of imploding.
At least fucking Dabu 7 goes, advertising boner pills. These scumfucks slip their adverts in with the real news. So they mix up their fake news with real news.
Given that it is critical economic infrastructure to the entire nation, and we've had all
your money
share people
for fucking precious
the Federal
metal.
Reserve come on out and say,
good from nothing
we're
when the fucking shit
not really part of the government, and we're here for our own profitability in business. But
that is a direct response to the fact
the problem for Donald Trump or for anybody sitting in that Oval Office is how do you correct whatever problem is in front of you without actually causing more damage?
I'm getting tired of repeating myself. Of you putting copyright material up on your website.
Their pedo playland, if you will. And folks, we need you to...
And they rely on people not criticising over this shit because you obviously support the paedophile cabal.
No, I just like pointing and laughing at fake-ass fucking funny haircut guys when they can't even tell you the truth when they're telling you the truth. That makes any
See
sense.
through this screen, this deception.
Wait a minute. Look at all those people who voted for Hillary Clinton. Look at those idiotic anti-Trump protesters who decided to sign wave on the I-5 and one of them got hit by a car. Okay, I'm sorry.
That enable
all of the American people are not as educated and wise as the people who are listening to this show, and we have to take that into account.
A way for the
and again, the issue is how does Donald Trump correct these problems without actually triggering more damage? He doesn't want to implode the federal government.
Right? Remember, up until Trump got elected, we need to vote for Trump or you're fucking dead. Now they're already making excuses.
Okay, but what you're
does the New World Order fucking need?
Moron!
Moron!
I'd like to see that, but it would bring the entire government down the way the former Soviet Union did. And if there
new fucking world order change,
the collapse of this particular government would actually be a good thing.
The Alex Jones and the
aside, setting that aside,
and
if it is possible under President Trump,
and so now they're trying to rob you of your
voice and take this nation back towards being a republic with a democratically elected leadership with honest and fair elections, and avoid a collapse and avoid a civil war.
Everybody should be pissed off about.
No, everybody should point and laugh at you and Melissa Melton for not being able to tell the truth that you got up with a copyright strike because you fucking done screen caps from Instagram and now you're all butthurt trying to relate it to the fact that it was Pizzagate. Which, watch this space, I'm assuming that arse is going to fall out
part of a grander plan, and that's exactly why.
Go ahead to thedailysheeple.com, check it out. I know Melissa Dykes has just done a video detailing some of the of what happened over the weekend.
Yeah, the fact that we got copyright striked.
And get the latest news.
You should read the terms and conditions of your host people. I think, no, in fact, I think he has read the terms and conditions of his internet hosting company.
Are you familiar with Occam's
Razor? As carefully as I read the terms and conditions and guidelines for his radio bullshit.
And just say the simplest explanation is most
because all that is an operation.
Do not trust the so-called Alex Jones-esque alternative media either. All they're doing is getting you to line up with sheeple and vote for Trump. Now what they're trying to do,
the White House. We have a better educated, more skeptical American people. I don't see this as falling short at all here. But again, the simple explanation is that Donald Trump is realizing exposure of Hillary Clinton's espionage and treason and betrayal would discredit the entire government
and
bring it crashing down just when he's ready to start trying to fix it. And I don't like that decision,
the Operation
but I can
Mockingbird
understand why he
fucking
might make that.
alternative media can't even hear the words out their mouth. I think it was CIA Operation Mockingbird, which was to control the press. I think it was in America, probably beyond as well. Probably still on its way. It's still going.
Have a great day.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go.
And you deserve
and
more. And all these people are doing
again,
is rhyming
I do not
and
envy Donald Trump
repeating
his new
like
job.
what? Like what little bird?
He's dealing with an economy that is basically on life support. And there isn't a whole heck of a lot that he's going to be able to do about it.
Rhyming repeaters.
This is the dailysheeple.com news shot.
The best that we can expect in the first 100 days
right, this is
what I'm looking for. Certain predispositions and biases in the government to favor certain parties over the American people as a whole may start to reverse that.
No!
Earlier today.
Please tell me there's
one
some
of the criticisms I have had for the last several presidential administrations, in particular those whose rise to power goes back
Mockingbird!
to CIA
Rhyming repeat
operation, is they weren't keeping an overview of what's best of the entire nation.
Rhyme and repeat after me.
And
all I do is rhyme and repeat the fucking shit off the mainstream media that I protest to hate.
It's unrealistic to think they're ever going to be anything else.
So there we go.
We know the corporate media is always going to lie because
they don't
that's what
do reporting. They report
some
of the other reports.
They're not going to stop doing it. That's their business model.
With them rhyming and repeating in the Daily Sheep
so
mainstream
what
media.
What we need, though, the role of government is to stand in the middle between the needs of the nation as a whole and the greed of the corporations and act as an umpire. Figure out what's the best optimal course through it all.
You should be at least going,
and Harry Truman used to say,
this
doesn't
from
matter
Keeps
what
Clips.
you do, there's
But
going to
me
be some
fucking
son of a bitch who doesn't like it, and that's a reality of high office.
None of that.
I think, so far,
Yankees,
Donald Trump is trying to keep an eye on the whole nation, the long view, the broad view.
We are
and I hope
the
we're
new
going to see his
world order.
policy decisions reflect
This demonstrates exactly what I've been saying about Brexit,
like I said,
and what
I
Trump is going
understand
to get
that if
used
Donald
for.
Trump, if I'm
Before
first of
he
all,
won
we're
the election,
presuming
when
I'm
I was
correct.
saying Trump will
Hillary
probably win the
Clinton was
election.
repeating the
If Brexit said to go
1996
bad,
Spinagate
Trump will
scandal
win the
and selling
election, because that
U.S.
seems
secrets to
be
foreign
what's
interests,
happening.
using her weak email server to deliver the
do that,
goods
though,
and her charitable
make sure
foundation to
they've
collect
not
and launder the
missed
payments.
anybody,
If I am right, and Donald Trump is looking at that, he's looking at a scandal that, if it were made public, could in fact bring the entire government crashing down. To him, that's not a viable solution.
Thumbs it up. Tell a friend,
so I don't like
tell a family,
what he did. There's a part of me that
off,
wants to see the Clintons brought down for what they've done as an object lesson to future politicians. But I can understand why maybe he felt he had to steer the middle ground. When he was out there saying you should be in jail, he may not have known the full scale of what Hillary had done and how exposure of it threatened the nation itself. All right, we're going to take another phone call. Christy in New Mexico, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
I might do the Mike Rivero show when and as I can.
What I came to, and I agree with you completely about Hillary,
be important.
These guys
backup channels, and if you do appreciate any of my bull crap, there's PayPal and Patreon buttons down there as well.
The range of information, and so I've sort of settled this within myself to trust the strategy. These people don't
in the evening, Janelle, how you doing? Nice to see you.
And I think if your
Dice Master, how you doing?
Can see that, we can hold off
Jeremiah,
on
how
any
you
judgment
doing, Jamesy boy?
About it.
Well, I'm going to judge it, you know, and it's a very difficult position. On an emotional, personal level, I am very angry. Okay, that once again the Clintons skate away scot-free. Okay, but putting myself in Donald Trump's position, I can understand why he may have felt this was the best of his available options.
Back in periodically when
I agree with you completely. I just strategies move around, and they have to move around. And these guys have shown they are absolutely masters.
Look at this big Ku Klux Klan.
Well, I disagree with you. If they were absolute masters at it, we wouldn't be in this mess that we're in. The fact of the matter is that they have screwed up and slipped up and messed up so many times that we are in this situation where the American people don't trust
if you're the new world order
or the government
and you
or
want
the
to
politicians,
destroy
that we have a government that is
States of
literally
America,
becoming impotent and
how do
paralyzed.
you do that?
Because most Americans aren't going to do what the government says anymore, even with Donald Trump.
You don't try and bring the country together.
Would have been worse
you
with
don't try and
President
get them to
Hillary.
sing in harmony. You don't try and get them to be the strongest country in the world.
We have a general population that is not automatically on board with whatever the government is going to be doing, and that's going to complicate
you tear the whole fucking country apart as Trump goes, woo!
Thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go here. So, moving on along here, over in California, where they are still whining and crying over Trump's victory and getting run down on the I-5
and Assange's love child
because of it.
They
are now seriously talking secession. And there is now a signature gathering operation underway to put the secession of California on a future ballot. And the group is called Yes California Independence Campaign.
This is the one that's giving me illusions of grandeur.
Attorney General's office,
this wee timid fucking buttercup
preparing a circulating title and summary of the enclosed ballot measure, Calexit, the California Independent Plebiscite of 2019. And a plebiscite is a vote for independence from a body, or to join with a body.
This wee cunt couldn't have been comfier.
It's basically a vote that changes your allegiance to whoever you're going to be. Crimea went through a plebiscite.
Illusions of grandeur from We Are New
when
World
they seceded from Ukraine.
I just saw a top alternative independent.
Hold on, nigga! What up, my friend?
We had one here in Hawaii.
Speaking like this, man. I don't know. I don't know what I've been told, but I think. Look at this. He's a big shit.
Because the plebiscite vote given to the Hawaiian people was become a state of the United States or remain an owned territory. And there should have been a third option, which is return to being an independent nation. Because the war was over.
Do you know what, nigga? You know what the
Hawaiians are feeling very cheated. And by the way, yes,
this is what's giving me illusions of grandeur.
A movement in Hawaii to reassert our independence and sovereignty.
As we know,
the nation of Hawaii, and it's apparently gaining a lot of ground at the United Nations,
more specifically China,
which
Russia,
is beginning to recognize that the statehood of Hawaii is in fact legally questionable.
Okay, we are changed.
In Alaska.
Well, you've got your
there
change.
Are secession movements in Texas.
Use our new world order. They've got their change. They mobilised their minions through Luke Rudowski, through Alex Jones, through Mark Dice, through all these other umbrella organisations ultimately serving the one agenda. They have got their change that Joe Joseph was talking about.
Now, getting over to the Dakota
one
protesters,
big circle jerk.
this thing is
Militia melts.
Very,
Alex
very
Jones.
ugly.
Luke Rudowski on
and
Alex Jones. Mark Dice on Alex Jones. Can you not? Yabba Dabba Do 7 on EMTV. Christopher Green.
The coming
Can you not?
woo
oh, Bob
What we have here
this is an official statement from
is
a private meeting
a group of people who are living on land which is theirs by treaty, and the government comes on and says, we're going to take the land away from you, and we're going to give it to an oil company to run a pipeline right through the middle of where you live and through some of your graveyards.
Trump's good.
Sorry, but
Trump's going to save the world. Trump is giving you the change you wanted. Putin, Assange,
has been escalating greatly, and the Dakota Access Pipeline people are out there trying to blame the victims, say, well, they're professional protesters, they're troublemakers, they're bringing in all these outside agitators.
Rudolph.
Well, I'm sorry. Apparently,
Rudolph Giuliani,
over this
one of
weekend,
the architects of the cover-up of 9/11
there was
on board.
Real,
he's
tragedy.
got
a young lady,
who was it? Was it Goldman Sachs?
Was literally hit with a concussion grenade.
In his administration.
Concussion grenades, flashbang grenades, are supposed to be detonated away from people.
Who wouldn't trust
they
this
make
guy?
A really loud noise.
Alex Jones tells you to
people,
vote for Trump, who's taking advice from Henry Kissinger, and then in the other party tells you Henry Kissinger's the devil incarnate, but vote for Trump or you're dead.
Was literally
literally, Alex Jones was crying,
right at her,
telling you vote for Trump or
Giuliani
hit
her
dead.
In the arm and detonated. It looks like her amputated.
Now, if that doesn't
absolutely
show you what you need to know about fucking the
and the police are out there saying, well, we're absolutely sure that we're not using any of this stuff inappropriately, which is of course what they said down in Georgia when the police down there threw a concussion grenade into a baby's crib.
Asking yourself, what's out of the ordinary? What's the problem here?
But this has really gotten totally out of control. Now we're going to take another break for commercials. When we come on back, more about the Dakota Access Pipeline and the protests.
Who has been pulling the strings of U.S. foreign policy for decades with his cohorts, and if you study U.S. foreign policy for the last few decades, it's not a good picture that was painted by Mr. Kissinger, his damn self. Donald Trump is...
What's your potty mouth look? You might be on advertising friendly and lose your fucking dough for this.
Is colluding, is cuddling this old
Imagine a pill that can improve your focus, your memory, your sleep, a catalyst to improve your brain chemistry. Dr. Bill's Cognition Plus is truly the smarter in an hour pill. A combination of amino acids, trace minerals, and B vitamins. Cognition Plus is made with specialized herbal extracts that will enhance and support brain function. Our customers say,
I feel more focused.
my memory's getting better.
I can work longer with more useful hours.
Power up your neurotransmitters that have been depleted, like dopamine and norepinephrine. Stimulate the release of others, like serotonin and oxytocin. Improve circulation and energy production. Protect your mind and your loved ones today. Order Dr. Bill Deeble's Cognition Plus at 888-212-8871 or go online to NutriMedical.com. That's 888-212-8871 or NutriMedical.com.
I'm shocked! Look! You are! Why didn't you come to this epiphany fucking ages ago, you fucking lunatic?
After just meeting with
you, your husband, your wife, your children, we all need food. And with dozens of food storage companies buying up airtime all over radio, it's hard for you to know which company you can actually trust. Hey folks,
Kissinger, can you please spit the semen out your mouth before you start trying to talk, man? You're coming across a big gargle.
Values to us here at RBN, and of course you, the listener. Well, I found such a company. I'd like to introduce you to Numana Food Storage. Numana Food Storage, highly nutritious, GMO-free,
never had to
contains
deal
no
with this crap before
aspartame,
because
no
he's
high
not a part of any
fructose corn
secret
syrup,
society,
has no
and we have
chemical
no
preservatives
blackmail on
or
him.
soy,
As it was
and Numana
confirmed
Food
by Newt
Storage
Gingrich,
has
who
a
on Fox
25-year
News
shelf
said
life.
that the
To back up my
establishment is
claims, we've
scared
made
of
Numana
Donald
Food
Trump
Storage
because
the
he's not a part
exclusive
of any
food
secret
sponsor of
societies. And,
RBN.
secret
Call
societies like Bohemian Grove,
888-597-0775.
So secret, we all know the names of them. Or are they societies with
0775.
secrets?
Order online at
I'm pretty sure the most super secret
That's
societies are the advertised all over the interwebs, but just call me crazy.
Food storage you'll love
and
to
then they
eat.
use that dirt in order to extort them. And that's exactly what Henry Kissinger is
I've been actively
putting
making products
in
available
context.
that support good health. What makes my juices flow is helping mankind get healthy. Today, I'm going to tell you about a product that will help your juices flow. I'm excited to recommend Dr. Miller's Holy Tea to you. Even if we are eating a clean diet, these impurities are entering our bodies. Holy tea removes these poisons that are creating
What
havoc
the
with our
fuck?
health out of
Spit
our
out the semen!
It works on the whole digestive system. The five tasty herbs are combined to provide an amazing detoxifying and healing tea that will rid your body
AKA
of pollutants
all the
and soothe your
globalist,
digestive
tyrannical,
and in
free
some cases,
trade,
help you lose
war
weight.
policies
It is
that I have been
critical
pushing
for our
on the
health
American
to
public
move
when I
all of
had
the
my
environmental
fingertips on
toxins
U.S.
of our
foreign
body.
policy.
The
There was a
holy
reaction
tea
to
can
that,
do
and
that.
that elected
As a
Donald Trump because
hydrocolon
Donald Trump was
therapist,
speaking out
remember,
against
with
that when he was
every
running for
BM,
president.
you're supporting RBN.
In my view, in the
www.holytea.org.
present
800-326.
Whatever happened to your wee camera rig? Go and fucking cover Wall Street or Occupy Wall Street or something again, you wee ball bag.
One has to. One should not.
Does anybody watch this guy religiously? When did he start doing clips like this, rolling news and all that? Was it in and around the time the monetary policy on YouTube was changing? Just a guess. Or was it in and around the time that he stole off a We Are Change ran out? Possibility. Go and look at it.
Aloha, America.
Somebody
Welcome
else
back to our
mentioned
show
that
here,
one
and
of
that
the
loud
founders of
racket
this
you hear outside the
organisation
window is there's a
was if they were
military
genuine when
training
they get
flight of
found, he'd actually
helicopters
turned up dead as well.
flying over,
I'm
and
genuinely not
they're not
interested in
very
them.
careful
I know
about
they're
those
frauds
mandated
just by listening to the
altitude
news.
limits as they used to be. So they rattle the windows on us every once in a while. We're talking about the Dakota Access Pipeline. We're talking about the protest. There are basically two issues. First of all, the fact that the land involved belongs to the Native Americans by treaty. And then the U.S. government comes on in and says, well, the eminent domain, we're going to take it and turn it into an oil pipeline right away. And
what the fuck are you talking about, you idiot?
That the pipeline
Trump
is
can't
going
be
through
controlled because he's not a member of any of the secret
Indian,
societies.
Sacred land.
Hello,
Now,
Rudolph Giuliani. Hello, Henry Kissinger. Hello, Clinton.
Get on the
Here's your get out of jail free card.
Sacred lands issue. Just imagine that you have grown up in a small town.
Trump, Texas.
And your family has been in that town for many generations.
So this is probably before
your grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents and aunts and uncles and all are buried in that cemetery out behind the town
they live under 180,000 pages
and then imagine
of
the
federal
government
laws, rules, and regulations
bulldozers
administered by 440
sorry, you got to put a
agencies
pipeline right through that
and
cemetery.
2.5
That's
million
one of the
unelected
issues.
bureaucrats.
The other is the threat to the water supply
man.
and the health
So
of the
we need to
people
break
living
up
along
shit.
that
This
pipeline
weird
route,
looking
and of course what we're getting from the pipeline
Stand
company
back! Clear!
and from the social media and from the government is that's ridiculous. These things
I
are
thought she was
perfectly
actually
safe,
dead there.
even though we've had a couple of really
Fucking
bad
Buffy the
oil
Vampire
pipeline
Slayer, man,
accidents
fucking-
just in the last few months
Has she
over
been
in the
waiting
southeast.
herself up for camera, do you
But
think?
here's
That's
where it
racist.
gets interesting. Data that was
waiting
compiled
herself
by
up.
Associated
I
Press,
just can't
the
handle this
corporate media,
racism.
Texas,
shows
independent
that
from the
between
United
January
States. Now, on the movement's
2012 to
website,
September
there's a place where
2013,
Texans can pledge their support
North
and given the
Dakota had
opportunity to vote on Texas
292
That's it, Americans.
oil
Fuck the
spills.
United States in the ass. Fuck your
Only
constitution.
one of these
Just
that
destroy it
involved
all.
a tanker
Go
truck
away and be all
accident
your
that
own. Be
happened in full view
individual
of
states.
witnesses and couldn't be hushed up.
Hold on.
That was the only one made
Hold
public.
on. Does that
The
remind
others,
you of some sort of
291 oil
a
spills
sort
were
of a
concealed from the
agenda
people
that's
of
been
North
rolled out
Dakota
in the Middle East,
to
which a lot
protect
of people
North
say there's a
Dakota's
lot of
oil
weight and
industry.
evidence to point towards.
And this is
the
why
smashing
the
up of all
people
these
on
larger
that land
countries, states, whatever
who
you
call
want to call
themselves
them,
the water
to suit a
protectors,
regional
why they're
power
concerned.
to make sure none of them can get
Because
too
you get a
big
big
to smash
oil
anybody.
spill, it takes
so
forever to get things
rolled
back to
out-
normal. Look up in Alaska where
rolled
they have
out
that
in the
huge
Middle
oil
East.
tanker run aground. The bay is
rolled out
still
in Africa
wrecked.
for fucking years. Ching! Just keep destroying that fucking
Okay,
press
we're
left,
coming
right,
up
and
here
centre.
on the top of the hour.
It's currently getting rolled out in the United Kingdom to
station
smash us to
identification.
pieces.
We've got two
to take us
callers
into the
waiting on the
European
line right
Union.
now. I'm going to
The SMPs,
we're
they're all
coming back
the
to you
people.
after the
Can
network
you see the pattern?
identification. So we've
And
got
now we
plenty of time to
have,
talk here.
we are the
interesting
new
little
world
story
order.
coming out of ZDNet.
Trying to sell you on
Catastrophic
smashing
botnet
America
to smash
up a little
social
bit
media
more.
in 2017.
Fucking Texans
This
on
is
you
related
go.
to the botnet
President
mirage. Now I
Daniel
wonder
Miller,
who
he
wants
said that
social
nearly
media to go over.
20,000
We'll be
of
right
the
back.
nearly 335,000 total.
My mama always told me not to trust women with white faces and women that talk out the side of their mouth. Hello! I'm the reporter from the BBC.
Pledges have come in from new supporters since Election Day.
The support that's come in since the Trump victory
Echo!
is proof of what we've said all along, is that the strive for Texas independence is not one that is isolated to one single portion of the partisan spectrum. You know, I think it's important to note that up until Election Day, Donald Trump had over 50% negatives in Texas, right along with Hillary Clinton. The vast majority of Texans did not believe that they had a legitimate choice on the ballot. And I think you can also infer that...
Wait, what we need to do is snap off Texas, snap off California as well, because we know how fucking deeply ingrained retarded they are down there. So you get these two polarised states, you snap them off. In the other states, like Alaska, it's fucking cold up there. They want to have cheaper heating bills to save them for the Eskimo attacks. So let's just snap the United States of America apart.
The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds
The
of
folks
thousands
here
of
in
people
Texas were
every
pretty
month.
unhappy with the
Sound
choices that they were given.
Quite the contrary.
When you had
With
record
slogans
voter
from
registration here in Texas, in
libertystickers.com,
excess
you
of
can reach
15
countless
million
hungry
people
Americans unaware
registered
that
to
they
vote,
live in a real
and
life
6
wonderland.
million of them still looked at the ballot,
libertystickers.com
shrugged their
has a
shoulders,
huge
and went home and
political
didn't even
bumper
bother.
stickers and
Now,
messages
even
that
with
reflect
Trump
the
receiving
truth
over
about our
half of the
government,
vote
our
in
politicians,
Texas,
and the
God,
future
man,
of
I'm
America.
not
With so
joking.
many
See
in
people
stock,
that
here's one perfect for you.
even
Visit us today
Trump,
at
they
libertystickers.com.
overpronounce.
Again,
It's
that's
like watching a BBC
libertystickers.com.
reporter.
Do your part.
And then she's
Your voice
weighted her
is
face up
important.
in the
Let it be
studio.
heard.
Ah, shit, fuck that. Right, I'm done.
This
we
is
are
RBN.
the New World Order. We are the New World Order change. So we'll batter into something a wee bit different in a second. First, we'll just bounce into the chat. Paddy, Cokeman, Kendo, and
What
Evening.
really
How you
happened
doing,
with
my
your
man?
host,
Nice to
Mike
see you
Rivero,
again.
because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host,
Devin, how you
Michael
doing,
Rivero.
Here in Aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 3. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443, and we're going to go right to the phones, starting with Dorothy in Pennsylvania. Dorothy, aloha, welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
It's fucking that size to me, and I've got shit eyes at the best of times.
I know you
so
spoke of
bear
Common
with me.
Core
I
last
can't even
week,
get your
but I was
Lopsum, how you doing, my man?
I
Lewis,
didn't hear anything
Kendall.
about the diehard liberals in our school system and what's going to happen to them, like the
Stone Man, so hopefully
diehard
I've still
liberal
said hi.
principals and assistant principals. Are they going to be losing their jobs?
Where my moose is,
I-
before I let
something
my
like
moose
that?
loose
I think
out
when
with
you
juice.
look at the fact that outside experts are now saying that our millennials generation are utterly useless because the education system hasn't actually taught them job skills, but just indoctrinated them with liberal socialist dogma. I think a lot of these people really ought to be given the pink slip here. We need to get our schools back to teaching our children how to solve problems, how to think, how to analyze, how to design, how to create, in order to make us competitive once again in the global marketplace.
And the alternative media, you see in the mainstream media.
Back when Trump won the election and everybody was talking about all the liberals heading for the border of Canada, and somebody was joking, "Look, we have to close the border." I mean, how many art history majors can we absorb? And somebody did that wonderful faux commercial for a charity, Sponsor a Millennial, and it was just hilarious. Very well produced, by the way, good production values. And that's a big problem. I really think our current millennials are going to be another lost generation where we're going to see the actual control and running of the nation skip a generation. It's going to go from the current controllers to their grandchildren and just skip over the millennials. They're out there. I mean, the fact that they're out there putting on virtual goggles and living in a virtual reality alternate universe where Bernie Sanders won the presidency, and that's where they want to live.
I don't know if any of you will remember me doing this on
to
another
redeem
the
right
InfoWars Nightly News. But it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. Just watch this.
If it's allowed where you are, homeschool as much as possible.
You pronounced it.
Or take it upon yourself to sit down with your children and say, okay, the public schools have had you, now it's my turn, and I got to teach you a few things they're not going to do.
Audio leakage,
and just spend as much time as you can with it.
The big picture is painted.
Right, come on.
Okay?
Come on. Come on, Dabble, you can do it!
Thank you. We're going to let you go and switch over to Francis in North Carolina. Aloha, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
This is Dabble 7.
Aloha, Nunu.
We have you! Moves getting made, mate. Stop talking about all these moves. You're rhyming and repeating.
Two thoughts.
Wait.
One is taking a
all
step
these
back
moves
to
getting
the
made by
political,
Russia.
genre and so forth. In a way, I can understand, not so much appreciate. Gosh, I almost got myself there for a moment. Why Obama was inserted where he was between the Bush.
It doesn't even give you any context where this is coming from.
Clinton clan and
like, this is the
whatever you wanna
Express.
call
It's not
it,
showing you
dynasties for that matter, because quite frankly, the aspect that Obama
anal,
basically
audio leakage
said,
coming
you know,
from.
we must not look backward, we must look forward, and basically let
look up here, look, it just tells you tits,
basically get off the hook for all the illegal
Yeah, that's why they tolerated it. I mean, Obama was a wild card. During the 2008 campaign, they were so worried about Ron Paul and so hyper about Ron Paul, they put all of their attention on Ron Paul. And Obama, basically unimpeded, was able to come on in and start commanding a large part of the electorate. And I remember there was this private meeting between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Took place, I think, in the House of Massachusetts. They made a big deal. Secret meeting between the two leading candidates. And I think the deal was struck at that point. Hillary was trailing in the real internal polls. She was seen as not having the experience that Obama did. And so Hillary made the deal.
He spoke about
Obama, you get the White House.
Remember,
and
he told
in 8 years it'll be my turn. You're going to make me Secretary of State, so I have a foreign policy credential that I can take on the campaign trail. And Obama went along with it, which led to 8 years of one foreign policy disaster after another. Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Libya, Benghazi. But she was able to hit the campaign trail saying, I'm a former Secretary of State and I know foreign policy.
Yeah, and as a result, that being a nightmare and a disaster, and now as a result, with Trump being there, it's like it's like a repeat
of what was already
done earlier.
I don't think.
No, I don't. I disagree. There was no secret meeting. They were fighting against Trump.
You thought it was a part of Europe that Russia was fucking preparing to invade from their border because you were confused. You didn't know what Kaliningrad was, and it shares a border with.
Shit, I'm gonna make a fool of myself. It seems to be a repeat, minus the secret meeting of.
Poland.
Whatever's being done legally or illegally or whatever, and how the upcoming party is
the Soviet
handling it,
old satellites,
and so forth and so on. Now
it's like an enclave that Russia has kept sovereignty over as the Soviet Union.
Well, before we go into that, I want to respond to what you said. What Trump's presidency signifies
this is my illusions of grandeur.
At least for the time being, the end of the narcocracy. Because their original plan going all the way back to Arkansas in the mid-1980s,
and then I'm actually
the Oval Office would be their hereditary right, passing off from a Clinton to a Bush to a Bush to Clinton. They're already grooming Chelsea Clinton for a run for the House of Representatives to get her on the path to the White House. But Obama was allowed to become president because he went along with it. He just commuted the sentences of another whole huge batch of drug criminals. I mean, it's not even like they're trying to hide where the source of their money and corruption is coming from.
He's obviously got a map out.
Well, the reason why they're not trying to hide is because basically they realize
there's his picture that he's screen capturing. Is it the one up the top?
So why not just out there in the broad daylight?
I think they misjudged that, which is why Hillary lost the election.
The one for Reuters. And, so this is what he does. He comes across to Reuters. Puts a screen capture thing over the photograph. Always careful if there's a copyright thing on it. He's always careful to cut that off because he's a wee bit retarded. He doesn't actually understand crediting the copyright to somebody. 9 times out of 10 will probably get away with it. But anyway, I won't try and wise him up in that. As you can see, there's the exact picture that he's using, and then Ryman repeating all this shit.
Which is where they basically get their water source from.
That's exactly right.
He must be in his Google
I
Earth.
would be absolutely outraged.
I know.
A
week or 2 weeks ago, he had no idea where Kaliningrad was, because he said Russia was preparing to invade Kaliningrad.
In
fact, I wonder if I could even
having a
find it.
canary if someone
I
did that
wonder if I could even find it.
a lake nearby where I live at. I'd be having a canary. I'd be raising unholy grief of something like that being done. It's like, you want to fight, stick it up your own tail, not mine.
Well, see, here's the problem. The water safety is a critical issue. The oil industry has a very long history of terrible accidents. We know from the Deepwater Horizon disaster that the government agency that's supposed to keep the oil companies behaving, the Minerals Management Service, is totally on board with them. They think their job is to help them. And we found out that the manual blowout preventer on the Deepwater Horizon drilling rig was 4 years overdue for its manual.
This is me showing you this guy actually doesn't know what he's talking about.
So we already have a situation where we know the government agency
but he's not honest about it. He stands up there.
And
these big shiny screens and his big
with
shiny
the revelation
dome.
that there have been 291 oil accidents in North Dakota in less than 2 years that were withheld from the public, you can understand why these people are very, very concerned.
Because he's got hundreds of thousands of subs. He must know the truth. And he doesn't have a clue what he's talking about half the time.
Frankly, when people that are handling the safety of the thing getting their pockets layered as they are, do you really think they're going to even bother with that safety issue? No, they're not. They're like, okay, I'm doing my time, putting my time in. I'm not going to worry about how safe it is. I'm pockets layered. I'm going home. Bye, y'all.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
And they don't give a rat's testicle about how it affects everybody else around them, let alone their own family.
Well, see, this is where Donald Trump's easing the way to fire poor performing government workers is going to be a big improvement, because the reason we have the Minerals Management Service not caring about the Deepwater Horizon's manual blowout preventer, the same reason the SEC turned a blind eye to Bernie Madoff for 12 years. The way all these government agencies, they can't be fired. They just sit in their offices. They go on the internet on their taxpayer-funded computers. They have a lot of fun. They draw really huge paychecks compared to ordinary Americans, and they just do whatever they want because they can't be fired. Well, that needs to change, and Donald Trump has signaled that is going to change. That everybody's going to be expected to demonstrate they're doing their job, and if they're not doing their job, they're going to be fired and have to go into the private sector.
By the guidelines that they're setting in place, that housing bubble burst wide heck open. That was not in itself, and quite frankly, how that actually got set up to occur.
Well, yeah. I mean, you had all the various regulatory bodies that were supposed to be keeping an eye on all this stuff. The SEC, they were just looking the other way.
Huge move! Russia's employing robots along the entire second Middle East. It's huge! Turned out to be a fake hoax, and Russia trying to get some extra funding for shit. But it was a huge move! Because he doesn't understand what he's talking about.
For you,
Russia was to do something like
you cannot be told when the appraisal is supposed to be done, because one, when they came out of college to know how to deal with an appraisal scenario legally, it was made a total fiasco because people that had nothing to lose money-wise basically had houses that had never been set foot into.
They are focusing on this Kaliningrad area. Remember, the Russians are threatening to invade. They're focusing on this Kaliningrad area. It's Russia!
And which caused the whole fiasco, which hurt everybody else beneath them, which they consider
it's not just that. I mean, going back to the original Whitewater scandal in Arkansas, where and the SNL collapse.
I didn't hear it.
That was all facilitated by having appraisers who would over-appraise very poor properties and pledge collateral. And
this is what happens.
And it's a lot of skullduggery going on out there. But we live in a society in which crime pays. and the big criminals remain unpunished, and we've lost our moral compass along the
everything
way.
going on with Ukraine, Eastern Ukraine,
what you're talking
with
about
Crimea,
is a whole
with them sending
design of dominoes
new weaponry
that to go
into
off
Crimea
in a
here
specific order, and believe me, it's
recently.
been collapsing.
And now they're stating that they're sending
it is starting to fall apart. Anyway, listen, Francis, I'm going to let you go because thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Mike in Tennessee. Aloha, Mike. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Kaliningrad.
And remember, Kaliningrad is Russia.
This area is strategically key.
White people in the community not far.
This is how I didn't watch it that far. I just heard him saying that Kaliningrad thing. I'm all over this because I know he's not talking about it. Look, this is my illusions of grandeur.
Of their water supply.
Not
now,
the
if all is fair,
huge move, man.
People having the same concern should validate the need to redirect.
Put a wee timestamp
I
on this.
believe that this is Canadian oil that's going to be exported. Run that puppy
right, so the
across
beginning
continent
of November,
Canada, or, you know, the country
22
of Canada,
days later,
and
he
ship
now
it
knows
out
where
of Nova Scotia.
Kaliningrad is.
Well, you're absolutely right about the
Illusions
hypocrisy
of
of the
grandeur?
court
'Cause I
cases, and
laughed
it's
at
even
them,
worse
pointed
because
and
some of
laughed.
these water protectors, protesters, have gone into that
don't know
white
what
town
I've
to
been
try
told.
and leaflet and demonstrate about their concerns.
Russia's got an
And the
army of
residents that
robots
town,
along the second
are
Middle
screaming
East
at them,
Arctic
go back where you
belt.
came from, which is kind of ironic when you realize that those are the original owners of
So he
that
did
land.
have his map up. This is how
but,
he knew what he was talking about.
here. The phenomenon is called the NIMBYs, not in my backyard. And it's an area where there's a lot of political fighting going on.
Here,
and
I want you
ultimately,
to notice here
unfortunately,
that
all of these
Jabba
things,
Dabba Doo
whether it's an
7
oil
has never
pipeline
looked at a
or a
map
trash
before in his
incinerator or a
life
nuclear
in any
reactor,
of his
they
clips.
get stuck in the areas
now,
where citizens have the
Ukraine,
least amount of ability to
because he
influence
understands
politics.
it helps him understand.
And that's what happened
not all
here.
the other people
and
understand.
Again, these Dakota Indians got
which Russia
screwed.
has
That
snatched
land was
up,
supposed to
and
be
they
theirs
have
by
the
treaty with the U.S.
Sea
government,
Fleet.
and then the U.S. government
Russia
comes on
has
in,
snatched
says eminent domain, we're going to take it, we have to protect the desert
so
tortoise or something,
Curtingham,
then
Russia
they turn around
has
and
done
release it to the oil pipeline company.
Crimea.
And here's the issue. Here's the issue.
I'm
If
not
the
gonna
Dakota
get into
Access
this,
Pipeline
make your
Company
own mind up about
was
that.
building an absolutely safe and unleakable pipeline system, and if they would simply gypsy doodle around the burial grounds, this would not be an issue.
Different mysterious
but what we
places
have
here
here
in the
is an
United
arrogance
States.
of corporations.
You recently talked about
who
Russia
are out there
invading
saying, we're gonna
Kaliningrad
just
as
run
well,
the
you
pipeline
dick.
where we
You
want
didn't
to
even
go.
retract
It's
it,
not going
point
to
out
leak
that you
too
made a
bad
mistake.
because
No, just
we
move
make
on.
more
Say,
money
I've
with
talked
a
about
cheap
this area
pipeline that leaks a
before.
little than building a pipeline that doesn't leak at all.
History.
And that is really the crux of the issue.
Questions remain.
And these people,
this is what I'm wondering.
on that
Does he
land are just expected
understand
to go
that
along
Kazakhstan
and live with it.
is
I mean,
not
look
America?
at the whole fracking situation that's been going on,
He starts
where
off just
people
saying,
have built these very expensive homes in the area where fracking is going on, and all of a sudden they can't turn on the water taps in their home without them bursting into flames, and all of a sudden the home is now completely worthless because nobody's going to buy a home to live in this area where all of these petrochemicals are floating around, which are carcinogenic, by the way.
To do any research on them.
And
some of the best ones to
it's
find
just like
out
the
there
oil
are
companies
some
have
of
become gods.
the newest and the ones
the big
that are
oil, they're
still not
worse
labeled.
than the
Man,
arms
I'm pretty
manufacturers
sure
and big
if-
pharma
see that
put
alien
together
base,
in terms of
down
their
in
absolute
Argentina that you want to
disdain
go and
of
visit.
ordinary people, not to mention
I'm
health and safety.
fairly sure if you get your ass down there, you can do as much fucking research on that area of land as you want.
Military police force has taken federal funding.
No, they
obviously,
don't
by
allow you
the
to do research on
and
this.
the other things that they have at their disposal. Trump,
Just
all he had
put
to
it
do,
out
just
there,
like
heritage
Ford
site.
heard that he was
That
going
way you
to
can get
create
aerial
tariffs
shots,
and the jobs
ground
need to
shots.
come
You
back
can do
to the
everything
country,
you
and
need
so
to do
they
to
stopped
study
the
it.
removal
Because
of
once
the
they
jobs
clamp down
from,
on these areas,
Lexington,
they forbid
Kentucky
anyone
down
else
to
to go
Mexico.
in, even if
The same
they're
thing. All
taking
he
their
has to
sweet
do
time
is
or they never send
publicly
anyone
state
else
that
back out
these
there.
people will be held
They will
accountable,
forbid
and
you
if
to
we
do
need
so.
to send them to the war,
But
Yeah!
what do you call it?
Live
For,
science!
war crimes or
We all know live science
that
is
not
like
that the
telling you the
Freedom
truth,
Restoration
man.
Act.
They ain't gonna lie to you.
Those guys serve
They're telling you shit you don't know.
life sentences. So
He's
they need
rhyming
to have
and
the message
repeating
brought from Trump.
mainstream
This would give
media
him
with a
credibility
slight
in the
different
area
accent to
of
say we the
protecting
mystery
we the
of
people
something that
from
isn't a mystery
a
of
tyrannical
it's
corporate
a
government. And
old
if he did that
archaeological site.
overnight, he would
Right?
force these,
It doesn't stop
military
there.
sites away from the area.
Doesn't stop
up there. Yeah, man. We get more green little man and fucking skydive, boo.
7. I want to share with you guys here some images
You don't want to share fuck all. You want to put you know this is bullshit.
Because the United States courts are
but he still rhymes and repeats it because he sees the hits that this shit gets.
Well, there's a couple of venues they could go to the United Nations for one thing, but let me back up here just a little tiny bit.
The fireball and a UFO and lightning shit in there as well. You just don't know, man.
You know, the health and safety.
Hold on, he'll
of the
show us the source.
And what legal actions they can take. I think what's going on here, first of all, if Donald Trump had come out with such a statement 2 days ago, it would have had an impact. Unfortunately, because of his announcement regarding Hillary Clinton today, at this point, he's destroyed his credibility, and nobody's going to take him at his word anymore. They're going to wait to see what he does, but he doesn't get to do anything for real until January 20th. And I think we're going to see a lot of various agendas try and ram through what they're doing to completion before Trump can take office. We're certainly seeing that with the wide open borders and immigration. We're certainly seeing that with the war hawks trying to provoke a war with Russia. And I think that explains why, ever since the election, the brutality against the Dakotas protesting the pipeline has definitely taken an upward jump, including the crippling of that woman with a concussion grenade actually thrown at her, which is not how they're supposed to be used.
Well, they are in fact a corporation.
Call me skeptical about frauds starting up a channel and trying to propagate Fukushima Fear alien spacecraft bullshit. Joined 18th of November 2016, 0 subscribers. And we all know the Daily Mirror, the UK mainstream media.
That's a very long and convoluted process. I have another solution. If this poor young lady does lose her arm, I think they should just directly sue the Dakota Access Pipeline Security Company because they misused the concussion grenade. You know, it says in the instructions, this is, you throw it on the ground and let it make a noise. You do not throw it at people. And just like those Georgia police were held civilly liable for the damage to the baby, this Dakota Access Pipeline Security Company can be held civilly liable for the loss of this woman's arm. They could literally sue them into bankruptcy. That's going to take a lot less time and send a much stronger message than a long, drawn-out, convoluted international tribunal. Situation. So, Mike, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go take a break for commercials. We've got a bunch of calls waiting to get on the line. We'll be right back.
Of her tweet, accompanied the video saying, a movie I took while preparing to die. But it was a meteorite because there was an earthquake earlier. It is not a meteorite. Calling that the video in MERS.
How you doing? This is Jimmy from Zipa. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Black Friday and Cyber Monday. All you people that like to procrastinate, the people that like to go ahead on Black Friday the night before, and
so ultimately, you've got nothing more than a tweet.
Newsflash. The deal for
nothing more than a tweet.
The deal for Zipa is today.
How I found this will help you decipher. Let's Dabu7, hope you're watching this as well, moron.
And buy now. If you're
going to go ahead and Dabu7's original, copy and paste that.
What does that mean? That means the
put
price
in a
of
Google
all the
image search.
Go up on Black Friday. And you know what happens on Cyber Monday? It goes up again. This is the last opportunity that you will have to get this great price for the Zipa.
This is how I got
the time now. You wait till Black Friday.
I've done a Google image search and that's
up.
exactly how I got this.
Sleep.
Kid you know.
Priceless. Go to Zipa.com, that's ZYPPAH.com, and get the deal now.
My name is Don Wiskin.
Anyway, do a Google image search.
I suffered a massive heart attack, lost 35% of my heart to damaged tissue, and was supposed to spend the rest of my life on disability. What did I
get caught or seen one.
I took Extendivite,
See, you learn from your mistakes, you're man enough to admit them and own up to them.
Which rebuilt my heart and gave me back my life.
Some footage
For
of an
over
aeroplane
17 years now, I have made this formula available to you,
Somebody rhymed
so
and
you don't have to suffer the same
3
thing
years
I
ago
do.
and said it was something
Clean your blocked
Syria or some
arteries and
crap.
strengthen your heart and boost your natural immune system.
And because
I'm 60 years old now, and I still work every day. To get your
it's so much more
Extendivite,
easier
call
just to blindly accept it rather than
1-877-928-8822.
investigate whether there's actually any gravitas towards the information.
Heartdrop.com. Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid.
there was a light in the sky during Fukushima.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction?
He's going to wise me up here. He's going to
have legal issues and are
impart some of his
state laws
vast amount of knowledge, like where Kaliningrad and stuff is, that he's accumulated over the years.
And for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or signed since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party. And the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose
the location
or
can't be
payments
confirmed.
Under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party,
when I look at the
help.
footage,
Our initial
this thing is
consultations
moving
are free of charge.
extremely
We are not
slow.
attorneys. We are legal researchers, and we're
Maybe they're
closely
just
with
stuck in
experienced
first.
lawyers
Maybe
who know how
mainly
to
the
help you find
alien
the evidence
spaceship
to
is
help
caught
you
in
keep your home. Call
in first gear.
1-855.
I remember a clip
Keep it.
from
That's
Father Ted.
1-855. The number 2. Keep it.
Father
today.
Ted's explaining to young Dougal, I can't remember his name. He's like, real cow? Far away.
What really happened with
Hoy
your host,
cow.
Mike Rivero? You're listening to the
Small.
Republic Broadcasting Network.
I've probably butchered that, but
Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. We're going to go back to the phones. The phone lines are just loaded up here. Andy in Texas, thank you for waiting. What's on your mind?
Most meteorites and fireballs move rather quickly. They also
yeah, because they're all at the same distance and height and all that shit. It's just the first thing that pops into my head. A variable, you know, like
we're dealing with a new world order.
Something somebody
with
an ounce of critical thinking skills about it would probably be asking themselves right about now.
So I think the reason why Clinton has been kind of shunned
once
from
they hit a certain spot in the atmosphere.
And only if you see them breaking in the atmosphere, you douchebag. Fuck's sake, this guy is retarded. I don't think he is retarded.
I also think that
green men, fuck knows what it is, just look at this.
They put a lot of time, effort, and money into getting us to where we're at, and all of a sudden we've got this invisible guy from nowhere.
I disagree there, mate, but you batter in. Always, categoric, boom-proof evidence, meteorites always in a downward trajectory.
Is simply because his life has been threatened more often than we probably think it has.
Up, man! It must be going to outer space, dude! This guy really is retarded.
Well, I'm sure.
Does he believe in fucking
I'm sure that Donald Trump accepted that his life was going to be in danger when he declared for the presidency.
Some sort.
If he didn't, then he was being delusional. And we know that during the campaign, there were photos of him where he was clearly wearing a bulletproof vest underneath his clothing.
This guy's going into
I don't think that's a new fact.
Realms of fear porn.
And again, I don't think Trump
is not touching on.
I know he's going to be afraid of the narcocracy. And I'm sure Trump understands that his life is at risk for very much the same reasons that John F. Kennedy's.
It's a green man!
Nothing else.
But I think his decision to not prosecute
No, what is it then, Dabu? Because you know.
Is really tied in with the fact that if the entire scale of her crimes became made public,
well, if it isn't green men, is it little grey guys with triangle heats?
Top job. And so I think that was the deal that was made.
Swirling around
I will not criminally investigate
no fucking
you if you
answers
shut
from
off
you,
the
you
riot
and
stop the death threats against the electors. And so forth.
And
so,
you
like I
don't
said,
know that.
as we get into next week, we need to keep an eye. If the protesters are still going, if the electors are still getting death threats, if my server is still being hacked, then something else is going on. But I think that was the deal that was made.
Is there anything that fucking
I can't imagine Trump destroying his own credibility that thoroughly without a really good
certainly
reason
nothing
to
that this guy's looked into.
Well, but I mean, at this particular point, because we know there's so much corruption in the government, I mean, anybody and everybody who's been paying attention to what's going on in this government, they can simply see that we've been corrupt for years and years and years.
As the tsunami waves are coming in, which checked out to not be much of anything.
What would be wrong with tearing the
But I bet you, if I go on your page,
well, you know, I'm not entirely opposed to that idea. I mean, certainly with the view of Hillary as president,
the mainstream
that
media
looks
has
like
told
the
me
best
something,
option.
so I have to repeat it.
With Trump in the White House, it's possible to still save this nation, but I'm not willing to bet any money that we're still not going to go through that collapse, simply because that central government is hopelessly corrupt and unrepentant about their corruption.
There is.
Well, we got Donald Trump putting
Fukushima, all
band-aids
the
on
fear
things.
is
If he
fucking
comes in
around
here,
that.
he's going to try to put
Is
band-aids
anybody?
on things.
He hasn't done anything yet.
The world yet.
Okay, Donald Trump can't actually do anything until January 20th.
Nagasaki and.
Absolutely. No, I'm prefacing out in front of his.
Nagasaki,
he's going to put a bunch of band-aids on things and try to correct things. When in fact it really should be
and then
flushed
put
down
an
the toilet and
earthquake,
started
which
again.
I don't know if
well, again, there's merit in your position, and a lot of people agree with you. And in a way, I certainly earlier this year saw that as the inevitable fate of this country.
Right now,
and call me naive and call me hopeful. I'm thinking that the fact that we were able to pry the White House away from the narcocracy, this election, we were able to overcome the election fraud. It's a starting point, and we still have a long road ahead of us to try and prevent that collapse, prevent a civil war.
But it's not over.
And the first and most important thing on my agenda is to call attention to the fact that the election system is completely fraudulent and crooked and unverifiable. And it is possible to have an election system that is much harder to rig, and we need to get it implemented in the next 2 years.
You can see here this mystery object. When you watch the video clip, you'll see how slow it's moving, how long it takes just to get from...
Yeah, but Abu 7 for copyright reasons won't actually show you the fucking video clip.
Well, thank goodness for Diebold. That's all I can say. I mean, you know, John McCain, one of his campaign fundraisers got busted for running a meth lab, and he still wins re-election. I don't trust those results either. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
That's it. Proof evidence. This is what the little girl, teenage girl, took. I don't know about you, can you see the earthquake happening when she thought she was about to die? Doesn't quite ring true now, does it?
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
What's this coming straight towards you over your head, you dickwad? This guy really is unbelievably fucking
Only
retarded.
a fool would go to a plumber for brain surgery.
Right, so there's the clip that
otherwise
Yabba
intelligent
Dabba
people
won't
use
touch
internet searches to find such
for
gems
copyright
as
reasons.
Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK with 3 shots from the rear and 1 shot from the front. They
versus
get similar
zipping
financial
through the sky
guidance when they are investigating
and lighting up,
cryptocurrency.
and it stays the same size.
RBN listeners
roughly
know
the same
that American
shape.
currency has not been lawful money.
Slowly cruising.
Well, we can rule out Megatron then, can't we? Because we all know Megatron when they're flying through the fucking sky, the Transformers, they change.
In 1968.
Upward,
now that the dollar has just about inflated totally away,
you see, to the unthinking, critical mind, thinking mind,
the high-tech world has brought you an alternative.
Wow, man, it's going upwards.
What if you could buy, sell, and trade
going
with
upwards,
fellow
man.
people from your home with zero base?
He's going like, I don't know, a semi-qualified guy in a white coat. Go and ask him, can a meteorite appear to be going up the way?
Journalist Pat Shannon.
Can any burning up object in the sky appear to be going up?
0911.
Especially when you don't see the start or the finish, which you don't.
So I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having
we'll talk about interesting. Check this out. This was sent in to me by a security agency that wants to remain anonymous.
Oh, it must
heavy
be
metals
real.
and cholesterol in veins and arteries
anything coming upon their business.
You know, after
this is over the Gulf of Mexico, near Pensacola, Florida,
now I'm back in the gym full
where they have witnessed,
research proves the
as you can see, these lights
has superior
going over the Gulf,
action
the strange lights coming up.
Health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com.
I wonder if there were some Chinese people celebrating a birthday or Chinese New Year. You know, letting off lots of Chinese lanterns that go up and kind of look like UFOs for a bit into the untrained eye.
Or go to the website, angioprim.com.
Are you still looking for that one iodine that you can really trust? A medical doctor-endorsed product that is backed by honest research and true integrity.
I thought that was a good breakdown of his bullshit though there. I've spoke about Kelly Red before.
Dr. Bill Deagle's new triiodine, proven time and time again to be the very best iodine available for you. New triiodine is the only Tesla-activated monatomic plasma iodine in the world. It optimizes mitochondrial function and generation of new mitochondria, from totally neutralizing the venom from a desert recluse spider bite in Southern California to eliminating malaria parasites reported by medical missionaries in Central India. Dr. Bill,
give me some brain juice!
Powerful healing formula.
Inject me with my tangy tangerine! I need to think of a different way to spin a new yarn to all these unthinking idiots that think I'm the Messiah! Messiah!
Order Dr. Bill's
He's
new
not the
Messiah
Messiah!
at
He's a fat fuck!
8871 or visit us online at nutrimedical.com.
You, your husband, your wife, your children, we all need food. And with dozens of food storage companies buying up airtime all over radio, it's hard for you to know which company you can actually trust. Hey folks, John Stetler here. We at RBN understand, which is why I personally searched out a storable food company and one with similar core values to us here at RBN and of course you, the listener. Well, I found such a company. I'd like to introduce you to Numana Food Storage. Numana Food Storage, highly nutritious, GMO-free, contains no aspartame, no high fructose corn syrup, has no chemical preservatives or soy, and Numana Food Storage has a 25-year shelf life. To back up my claims, we've made Numana Food Storage the exclusive food sponsor of RBN. Call 888-597-0775, 888-597-0775. Order online at NumanaRepublic.com. That's Numana Republic.com. Food storage you'll love to eat.
Listen to Mike Rivero tell you that Donald Trump's got a secret plan with Hillary Clinton. That's why he's not prosecuting her. Gareth, how you doing, my man? Lewis Morton. Feel free to stick a wee thumbs up. Check out the links below. Most importantly for the event pages, they might be important going ahead to get any.
And aloha America, welcome back to our show here. We got a bunch of callers waiting on the line. I'm going to ask you to be a little bit more patient because I have some news I do need to get to before I can go back to the phones here. I'm getting all kinds of emails saying, oh, you know, don't worry, Hillary's going to be prosecuted by Sessions or something along that line. Well, you know, I really don't think so. I got one email where apparently Joe Biggs and Alex Jones are out there with the story that Trump is just leaving Hillary to the Attorney General while he leads the country, which in point of fact is the way it's supposed to work. But if that were true, why bother with the announcement? That announcement was bad for Trump's credibility and his public image. It angered his supporters who supported him specifically to see the Clintons rot in prison.
Their Messiah
so why make a
elected?
public statement?
I can't understand it for the life of me, man. Donald Trump!
And I would like to see the Clintons
hauled
up
doing what he promised, man!
Else, but at this point, I don't think it's going to happen.
Right now on Info.
Right now
again, if
on
I am
InfoWars Nightly News.
And Hillary was committing treason, betrayal, espionage while serving as Secretary of State.
They go to Dabu 7 school.
Then all she's got to do is say the instant I'm in court, I'm going to admit it. I'll confess.
You need to say everything like.
And the fact that the entire U.S. federal government did nothing about it will bring the entire U.S. federal government crashing down. That other caller said might not be entirely a bad thing.
Or the WWF.
Breitbart News leads criticism.
But when you evaluate Trump's statement, you have to include the fact of the statement itself. Why make a public statement? Because this idea that Trump is just going to leave Hillary to the Attorney General and she's going to be prosecuted anyway, okay, maybe.
Right now,
why does he need to make an announcement?
Infowars.com. Trump gives Hillary a pass. Breitbart News leads criticism.
Hey, I was right about Pizzagate, right?
Donald Trump.
All right, before we get back to the phone calls, I have to do the obligatory nod to Climate Gate and human caused global warming. It's been snowing for 38 hours straight in Syracuse, New York. They got about 20 inches there already. Storm system brings early snow to areas north and west of New York City. Near record November storm buries Rochester. CNY drivers, including a meteorologist, described being stuck on I-81 for hours. The freeze was so hard there, cars couldn't get up the hills.
The alt-right is a coined term by the mainstream media that now the alt-right is all over.
Had heavy snow over in China resulted in a 56-car pileup, leaving 17 people dead.
How do you like that? Members of his own cabinet are criticizing
Noah just put out another one of their statements about how
let's not talk about he's a liar before he even gets into presidency.
Somebody
it just shows you how
noticed that
beautiful
on their
he is
map,
that he's
where
doing
they're
shit and
indicating
getting
huge
criticised
temperature
for it.
increases, There are no temperature stations
This has
located
got
there.
to be the death knell in these info whores fucking
They're relying on their computer simulations about
Alex
what's going
Jones,
to happen. We don't
Mark
need to
Dice,
look at the
all
real
the
world. The
unthinking
computers are
Dabu
telling us what the
all
reality
the
is. Just
morons
like that
out
computer
there.
program that Hillary's campaign was using.
I'm going to be all
okay?
over their ass, not let them off the hook for what they've just
Now,
done.
getting back to the category of the fake news, remember the big one? We were hearing it from all the TV news. 97% of scientists agree that human-caused global warming is real. And that number was a hoax.
Through enough. Well,
Mark Stein dug into that question. How many scientists really think human-caused global warming is real and a major problem? And he discovered that this 97% number was arrived at by mailing out a 2-question survey online sent to 10,257 Earth scientists, of whom only 3,146 responded. 96% of those came from North America, 6.2% from Canada.
Fair investigation. So I would have to disagree.
And
Hillary Clinton has
basically, despite the narrow sample, because you can't say if you invite 10,000 scientists to participate and only 3,000 show up, you can't say 97%. So the researchers simply cherry-picked 79% or 79 of the sample questionnaires and declared them the experts they relied on to come up with that number. It was completely made up, and the corporate media reported it as real. All right, let's see. We're going to grab some phone calls here. The Analog Anarchist in Maine. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Haiti? What are you talking about, Haiti? You stupid little fucking gatekeeping fuck. Why aren't you talking about the fact that Trump is a confirmed motherfucking liar?
There is one minor correction.
Oh, that's because we have to get Trump elected or we're all dead.
With the Clinton Foundation, Rob, is this going to help all the victims of the Clintons heal? No, justice.
Well, if it's involving the Natural Gas Act of 1938, that's the U.S. government.
During his campaign, Trump repeatedly stated that if he were president, he would appoint a prosecutor to charge Hillary. He even agreed with his supporters who chanted, "Lock her up" at the rallies. Yes, Donald, please do not let us down on this, okay? Me personally, I won't mind if you don't build a wall. If you do not pursue or prosecute Hillary Clinton, that will be a major black eye
for technical real estate purposes.
I don't mind if you lie to me just a little bit,
You call up and you say the government isn't doing this, and then you say that the company got this document from the federal government, took it into a court, and said we're taking all this land. That sounds to me like it's a government operation.
It's going to be a boo-boo on my face.
It's a private company wanting it, but they can't do it without the assistance of the federal government. You said it yourself.
During a 60 Minutes interview, Trump referred to the Clintons as good people and said he doesn't want to hurt them. I don't want to hurt them either. I just want a fair...
Bill Clinton's a rapist, anybody?
I'm sorry. If the federal government gave them a piece of paper, they are definitely
Lay
complicit.
off the tiny
Thank you very much
I've
for the
got
phone call.
sneaky
We're going to switch
suspicion
over to
Alex
Karen in
Jones is
Maryland.
drunk and all
Aloha.
these
Welcome to the
cunts.
show. What's on your mind?
Investigation into her
Karen.
emails.
Hey, my
Breitbart
question is
News
about
ran with the headline "Broken Promise."
college.
Trump doesn't wish
Is
to pursue
it
Clinton
up in the
email
air
charges.
or questionable
So now
at
you've
this
got
point as to whether or not the
the
electoral
email charges were
college
always debatable whether they would
going
get
to
her fucking
cooperate. And then number
arrested.
two, does the
This is where the
electoral
manipulation
college
of
have
Trump,
the
Mike
option
Rivero, and
of
the
just not
controlled
voting instead of, voting
Truffer
for one or the
industrial
other,
complexes came in.
abstaining from voting, period.
Well, they can't
Everybody has
abstain.
been under the
If they
assumption
do
that we're
that,
gonna try
the
Clinton
election would be
because of
thrown
the
into the House
dead
of
body count and
Representatives,
all that.
which is Republican-dominated,
Star.
and we all know who they would vote for.
Even
So
if you go to
the
Iran
Electoral
Contra
College
thing,
right now, what we're
barrage
hearing from all of these
crimes
electors
could
who
go
are
after
receiving the death
Clintons,
threats is they're angry.
The Clintons
And I think it's definitely working against Hillary Clinton. Now, there was that Hail Mary plan by a couple of Republican electors to reach a compromise. They don't want to vote for Trump. They realize they can't vote for Hillary Clinton. So they're trying to run this idea of literally giving the White House to John Kasich as a compromise candidate. But they require so many electors to become faithless electors. I just don't see this happening, because never before in history has there ever been more than one faithless elector in an election. And usually it's a protest vote by an elector who already knows the candidate that they're supposed to support is going to win anyway, so they vote for somebody else as a form of protest. But the idea that they're going to get 20 or 30 of the electors to break ranks, that is just really very, very absurd. I don't see it as actually happening. And if it does, if the electors vote for anybody but Donald Trump, it's not going to be seen as legitimate by the American people, primarily because of all these death threats these electors are getting.
Pulling it around like
let me ask you something to follow
It's good that Trump is lying to you, because at least somebody's pointing out that he's lying, and that's what we want in this fine country of ours.
Meanwhile, according to a report in the New York Post, Trump met with heads of corporate media on Monday and pulled no punches.
Meanwhile, 2.5 minutes, the guy doesn't even point out that Trump's a liar.
We already saw during the primaries where they were putting the delegates on the ballot, and in some cases weren't even saying who the delegates plan to support. And so a lot of people were going into the primary elections and they had a list of names and no clue which ones were going to support Bernie Sanders. It was one of the many ways this election was messed up. It does need to be simplified. It does need to be made more transparent and verifiable. But I think the idea of the electors being chosen by the state is a way of guaranteeing the state's interest, because we do need to strike a balance there in that if it's a straight popular vote, which a lot of people are now saying it should be because that way Hillary would have won. No, she wouldn't have, because Donald Trump would have changed his campaign and still won. You would see the elections dominated by just 4 states. New York, Florida, California, and Texas would basically decide the election for the rest of the country. And so the Electoral College system, in part, is designed to guarantee that the individual states have a larger voice regardless of their population. The same reason that every state has 2 senators, no matter what its population is.
Act like you're not completely confused out your box.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go. Switch over to Mark in Philadelphia. Mark, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
He's ended the report and it's only 3/4 of the way through. What could possibly be coming on InfoHorse?
The compromise of local jurisdiction law enforcement.
He's going to tell me to go to a mountain river, eat lots of fruit and veg, live a healthy lifestyle.
Legally excluded non-citizens and hiring.
Alexa Pure.
I want to come right back to that.
Alexa Pure
but here's
Pro
the thing.
is a
We have
brand new
300 sanctuary cities. I don't know if anybody's connected
that is
to
like no other.
Like no other. It's got my fucking name on it.
Basically, that's a way to
look at this mountain stream.
To be able to go after illegals
who are in that area. Source into clean, healthy drinking water.
Yes, because we all know every fresh source isn't clean, healthy drinking water. Listen to that retarded logic, wrapped up in Alex Jones. Don't eat healthy, don't eat fruit and veg, take all your nutrients, supplements for all the shit you need and don't need and all that palaver. Go to Natural News, another wee subsidiary of InfoHorse, buy all their lotions and potions and stuff, snake oil, bullcrap, and then to wash it all down, make sure you've got your Alexa Pro water.
Pairing the unprecedented superfiltration power of an all-new gravity block core with a
gravity block core.
Hydrochromatic shell.
It's got a hydrochromatic fucking shell.
Well, I would say
I don't even know what that is,
issue
but it
aside,
sounds great.
if anybody is caught dealing in illegal drugs, the police have every right and duty to go after them.
All it does is doesn't filter out.
I know that the heroin and cocaine are coming in from Mexico. Meth can be made locally, so I don't know how much of it needs to be smuggled up from Mexico. You can set up a lab. And remember, I said one of John McCain's fundraisers for his recent re-election got caught with a meth lab early in the year, and still somehow this guy seems to get re-elected. I do know there is a correlation between the sanctuary cities and those cities where Hillary Clinton did extremely well at the polls.
In his case, now it's strange to me
that they're confused yet again,
Margaret. That
what's confusing you?
From my understanding, currently, as of
Trump, the Messiah's in charge. He's going to prosecute Hillary Clinton. Surely he's going to go after her for the death of one of her staffers during the election.
They are saying conspiracy theories swirling around their son's killing are lies. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, wow, man. Parents aren't on board with InfoHorse?
Well, I think that they're very well-meaning people, and obviously their son was murdered.
I think you're a well-meaning person as well, Hen, but I don't think you're getting employed for your brain.
There's an inside group that's opening the borders
These are infiltrators.
RT reject, RT America reject, now on InfoWars.
Thank you.
Well, that's certainly one of the overlapping areas as well.
And sometimes you say things that when you don't have all the facts, your opinion changes as
more. The American consciousness
like InfoWars all the fucking time.
Information comes forward, and let's face it, they haven't had a lot of information in their son's death at all.
Yes, if there's anybody at least informed about their son's death out there,
Hi, Michael.
I mean,
How are you?
we're obviously more informed than the parents.
And what's really heartbreaking, Owen, is that the mother of Seth Rich, she had a press conference today, and we'll get into the specifics of that. We brought you a clip.
I remember that. Oh my goodness! I really loved that movie when it came on out. That was a great movie.
Here he is stepping up to help my son, who is a Democrat. We were going around the neighborhood, putting these signs and posters up on posts and asking the business people, please could we hang these, because we need the public's help. We need everybody's help. I know Seth.
Well, you know, the reason I put all this stuff up.
Everybody helps us.
Can you turn down your radio or whatever it is you're listening to, because I'm getting a bad echo here. I actually got an email from somebody saying, look, we know the winter's cold and you're in Hawaii, why are you complaining about this, blah, blah, blah. Well, the reason I'm hitting this point over and over again goes back to that March 20th, 2000 article.
So your heart really breaks for his mother. Understandably, the dad was there too. This lobbyist, Jack Berkman, he's a Republican. He put up $100,000 in addition to the award already. WikiLeaks had a portion of it, but $100K coming from him. And look, you hear Mary Rich, pleading anybody. She's going door to door to the businesses in that area and handing out flyers, wanting anybody who's seen anything at all to come forward. What I find really remarkable here, all of the security cameras, I've mentioned this before on the show. I lived in the same area, within a few blocks of where this man was killed, and I find it very hard to believe that with all those security cameras, there was a single image that captured the two men that shot her son in the back 4 times.
Don't believe it.
Al Gore and his people are trying to sort of back away from human-caused global warming and saying, well, we're talking about climate change. Yeah,
and look where the security cameras are.
It always has, and it always will. It's changing before humans
evolve. And if you can't rely on detectives to do the detective, go and do the detective work
ridiculous
yourself.
To say that you can
and they're calling it a robbery, a botched robbery, yet the wallet and the keys and the cell phone are laying on the floor right next to him.
That's the only way you're going to be able to have any significant control over the climate.
As you're talking about Mary Rich looking for answers here, and she's had so little. I mean, you know, there's so much mystery still revolving around the murder of Seth Rich. But to me, if I was looking for answers, I would do what you're alluding to. I would go and I would find those cameras.
Oh my god, it looks like I've actually watched this. I kid you fucking not, man. Oh no.
But anyway,
I would go to the site, I would find those cameras, I would see who had
well, the problem with Japan,
footage, and then, you know, I mean,
look,
with
Japan is
who knows
that they've
if
got
we'll ever
a very
know
strict
who is leaking this stuff to Julian Assange. Who knows if we'll know if Seth
but
Rich
unfortunately, much
was
of
involved
city
in
are
WikiLeaks,
built
right?
over
So we'll
these
never know that.
landfills of
But
garbage
if I was Mary Rich,
laid down since
that's
the end
where I
of
would be
World War
going for
II.
answers.
So
I
they
would be
don't
going
really
to
have
people
good
who have that
foundations.
footage.
There's a
You
big
said
problem
it's
with
a highly
liquefaction.
surveyed area,
I saw some
and I would be
coming out of
going
Japan
to
just today where you're literally having water gushing up
Party and trying to figure out, was there an involvement here? Did my son leak anything to Julian Assange that put his safety at risk?
Especially since he's not the only one that died around that same time period with a similar circumstance. No investigation, you know, case closed. Of course, I'm talking about the attorney, the petition to have the records of the DNC. His name is escaping me at the moment, but very similar circumstance. He was found in his apartment by his girlfriend, young man, and working for the same people. This is a bizarre...
Fucking hell, did you just turn your voice box up?
Coincidence, to say the least.
I think Alex Jones is behind her with a fucking cattle prod.
Act
like you mean it, bitch! Act like you mean
it! You know, this GOP lobbyist, Jack Berkman...
Anyway, James, sayonara, and we're going to be back with the last segment of our program after these few words.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield tactical bipods. AirOutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AirOutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AirOutfitting.com.
Oh, fall. My favorite time of year. Cooler temperatures and, well, let's be honest, layers. Lots and lots of layers. Look, I get it. We all have that favorite hoodie. Matter of fact, I've got a few favorite hoodies. You should wear yours. Enjoy it. I do. But I stay focused on my health year-round. And for me, I take Nature's Youth RSF from nature'syouth.com. Nature's Youth RSF from nature'syouth.com. I eat right, control my portion sizes, still maintain a commitment to regular fitness, and I get plenty of rest, and I take Nature's Youth RSF. It's okay to cover up your beach body for a few months, but don't just forget about it. Nature's Youth understands exactly what it means to provide top-quality health products, and Nature's Youth customers not only improve their health, they know they're also providing their body with the right nourishment to maintain peak performance levels and fight the aging process. So layer up and get started today with Nature's Youth RSF. nature'syouth.com. Simple to use, even simpler to order. Go to nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Women and children alike.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And first of all, I want to do a little kudos to Mike in our control room, who's dealing with much adversity, and I don't need to go into the details, but he's being a hero today. We're going to take our last phone call of the day, Sherry in Texas. Aloha, Sherry. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. Thank you. There's this lawsuit against the woman I think is the most expedient way to stop what I think, I fear, could be a future potential turning the breadbasket of America into a dead zone. And it's not just because of the fracking and human error and the brutal winters that I think are coming, but this natural disaster, you know, the New Madrid Fault is not going to go away. The whole area, Nebraska's next to Iowa, Kansas is just to the west of Missouri, where the whole thing is going to center. And the whole area is under the surface. You have these stacked plates that are described as like stacked pancakes, and the destruction is going to be so widespread if that thing goes.
Well, I mean, the same thing can be said for the Yellowstone supervolcano, but nobody knows when it's going to happen. Certainly, I think if there were fracking along the New Madrid Fault, there would be an area of concern, but so far, at least, they are prudently staying away from that part of the country.
Well, if this is going down the middle of the country, right, or not?
Well, the pipeline is actually over in North Dakota, and the New Madrid fault is considerably further to the east of that. In fact, it's on the other side of the Mississippi River.
Yeah, but that's close considering the widespread damage. It's going to go at least halfway into Kansas. There was a special on PBS, and how they're preparing for it, and that it's going to be felt all the way to the Rocky Mountains on one side and the Appalachians to the other because of the area under the soil is so unstable and can cause such widespread, those vibrations can go nowhere but east and west until they hit a mountain. So I think
that's not how seismic waves operate, I'm afraid. And anyway, listen, Sherry, I understand your concerns, but again, it's just like the Yellowstone supervolcano. Could happen. When's it going to happen? Nobody really knows. Might not happen in our lifetime. We have more pressing things. Anyway, thank you for the phone call. We're going to go ahead and close the phone lines because I'm coming up here to the end of the show, and I got to take off and do Jim Goddard up in Vancouver here. Now, if you are like me, you probably, when you abrade your skin, you want to get some aloe vera. And if you're not lucky enough to have an actual aloe vera plant, you will go down to your Walmart or CVS, Target, and you will get their aloe vera gel in a bottle. Unfortunately, according to a story that came out of Oraz.com, samples of store-brand aloe gel purchased from Walmart, Target, and CVS were tested in a lab and were found to not actually contain aloe vera. And we have come to understand there's a lot of fakery and fraud at the retail level. A lot of what you buy that's got the name honey on it isn't real bee-produced honey, so forth and so on. So you got to be a little bit careful. And it's not that hard to grow an aloe plant. Learn some gardening. There's the music. Time for me to get on out of here. We'll be back tomorrow here on the Republic Broadcasting Network. Until then, you are all part of the independent media. Take what you learn here. Share it with everybody that you know. I would like to say that we can take a little bit of a breather here, but it doesn't look like we can do that until January 20th. We'll be back tomorrow. Aloha, America.